No, not yet, sir.
Okay, so let's just target that as a first step. Let's download the Power BI desktop version. I'll also tell you what is the difference between a desktop version, what you're going to learn right now, and also maybe I would say you'll also get to understanding about the Power BI, the other applications of the Power BI, like what you can do. So let me just share you the link. All right, I'm sharing the link in the chat window just in case if you guys didn't have the link with you. So look at the link and then download the Power BI application first.
Hey, do we have any specific version needed? The link you chatted, because I have one on desktop. I'm just looking at it.
Okay,
So I'm
so
not sure that it's showing any sort of version or not.
okay, which kind of version is it? Let me check. Um, you want to share your screen? Let me take a
Yeah,
look at that.
yeah, sure.
Joyce and Lisa, just give me a confirmation once you guys are downloaded.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, now it is loaded. Yeah.
Do you see? Are you able to see anything?
I'm able to see the Microsoft Teams application window.
Ah, okay, it's not sharing the whole. Okay, 1 second.
Right.
Are you able to see now anything?
No, it got dropped.
No.
Are you using a browser or are you using an application? Now I'm able to. Yes. If you go to the help on the top,
About?
right, click on the about.
Yeah, this one's on 2.11.
2.110 8050. Looks like you are using most uh, recent version. All right, so you have got the most recent version. So we are good.
So fine with it, right?
Perfectly. Very, very perfectly.
Okay, thanks.
Lisa and Joyce, you guys are able to download?
Yeah, but it's
Yes,
slow,
Shrikant,
very
it is
slow.
downloading.
Oh, it's downloading. Okay. So you guys,
Yes.
so you are yet to install. Right. Go ahead. No problem.
Okay.
Okay, let me do one thing. I usually take up a presentation. Let me see if this is what I have. All right, let me share my screen for a moment while you guys are downloading and installing this. Hope you're able to see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Ignore these subtitles. I need to switch it off. I'll do that later. So welcome to the Power BI session training. This is what we have got a few of the contents which I have created, but we are going to understand what is Power BI application. How do you work on the Power BI? What are the kinds of inputs that you can give to the application, and what else you can do? So we are going to learn all this information. However, when it comes to the module, so I have designed the module in such a way that you can have some pretty straight questions where you can see and understand how do you work towards such kind of uh, questions, and also you will get something for your practice so that you can practice more on that, so that this gives you a sample data set and which will be really helpful for you in terms of playing around with some data, and maybe whenever you want to do any report on your professional thing, right? So this concept what you're going to learn will suffice as a sample input so that you can play around here and then see how it works. All right, so introduction of the Power BI. So when we talk about the introduction of the Power BI, I would definitely say, yes, Power BI is one a powerful tool which is meant for visualization, right? So when you talk about like Saket said, so I have seen the Power BI using in the creating of different dashboards, creation of the reports. Yes, it is a powerful application wherein it consists of different kinds of software service applications inscribed within it, especially from Microsoft. However, when you look at things in a different prospect, from your understanding, if you say what is a Power BI, you might say, okay, I can see some dashboard, but definitely not a Power BI. What you say is not called a dashboard. They are called the reports. What your creation. Okay, so in terms of the dashboard in Power BI, it has altogether a different meaning. Okay, so what I would say, unlearn everything what you have learned, what you have seen, or what is your perception about the Power BI application so far, what you have gained, and fresh, learn fresh everything. Okay, unlearn and everything, and then just start with a fresh mindset on the Power BI application. How do I execute? How do I utilize this application, and then create some kind of more automations and create beautiful reports out of it. Okay, so on a nutshell to say about the slide, what it is talking about, there are different versions of the Power BI applications that you will be seeing in the market. Okay, however, the Power BI works on three different applications specific to the Power Pivot, Power Query. Okay, so these are the two things that work on the background. So these are the two background applications that it will working. Along with that, we also have called the Power View and Power Maps. These are the different add-ins that comes under the Power BI application. What are the different parts of the Power BI when you talk about? So there are three major versions that Power BI offers. One is a Windows desktop application. Two, it's an online SaaS application. Three, it's a mobile applications. Okay. Now there are different versions. I mean, these three are different applications which can be used for three different purposes. What we are going to learn in the session is going to be the Windows desktop application. Okay. Now, what you don't 100% touch base is the online SaaS. Three, on the mobile applications. Yes, it is something like the same Windows and online SaaS application. However, mobile application is designed only to ensure that your Power BI reports, how does it exactly look in a particular mobile, specific to some office mobile applications and everything. So it can also be used for them. However, what is that between Windows and online? Let me understand a quick question between Lisa and Sakit, because I'm not really sure about Joyce if she have heard about it, but have you guys heard about SharePoint?
SharePoint,
No,
yes.
SharePoint, no.
no, I didn't.
Sakit,
Yeah, I have.
okay. Joyce, I think even you might have not have heard about the SharePoint, right?
Yes, sir. I don't know.
Okay. Shared drive at least. Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
yes, for me.
All right. So let me tell you what is that Windows and online says. So Windows application will be something like a standalone application that is installed in your laptop, okay, personal laptops, or either it could be any office laptop also. It is installed in your standalone machines. Okay, it's something like you think about this example. Think about this example. Let's say Lisa have created a beautiful report, an Excel report. Okay, so when she created an Excel report, so what she expect that, okay, let me circulate this between Joyce and Sakit and Lakshmi. Okay, now what happens when she wants to circulate this between all three of us? Now she will create the report and then send it to us, either by email or placing it at a certain location. And then she will send us a link and ask us, okay, guys, you can open the file, Excel file, and then look into that. Okay. So this is what Lisa does. Then let's say Sakit gives some inputs, some more inputs about it. And then Sakit say, okay, Lisa, that's a beautiful report, what you created, but can we have some more bit of items? Now, what will happen? Can Saket be able to go back, edit the Excel file and then send it? Yes. Where? He can download that through whatever the communication he received and then work on that again, share it back. Correct? So this is what you guys are doing, because Lisa have her own standalone Excel application in her system. She works on that. She will share it with in the email, and then Saket also works on the standalone application. So that is how the Windows desktop application is used. But when someone said, okay, when there is an opportunity, or let's say now you guys have an opportunity where you can deploy this in a certain place, a common place where Lisa and Saket have access towards. Either it could be an online application or any other shared drive. Okay, so what will happen the moment once Joyce, or sorry, when Lisa creates the Excel file, now Joyce can, Saket or Joyce can also open the same Excel file through shared drive or SharePoint. Okay, because you guys are connected to a single group, single place. So they can see the reports, or they can see this Excel report, whatever Lisa has been created. So instantly, like in live. Okay, that is what is an online SaaS application. Now Power BI also works on the same similar thing. Whatever the reports that you are creating on your Windows desktop application will be sitting only on your system. Now the moment once you publish this, okay, publish this on online platform, then people who are connected onto that online application, like within your organization, or who are having the credentials, or to whom Lisa have given access, so all these people can able to see this online. Otherwise around, it will be like a single standalone report in sitting on your system. Okay, when you work more on this, you will get to know more about this. So if you understand this concept of Windows desktop application, like what is Windows desktop, what is online? So Windows desktop will be your standalone application which is installed on your system. Online is a group of people who are connected to that particular site, and then you are publishing the report to that particular site so that people, everyone who are connected to the site can able to see. Otherwise around, unless and until you don't share the report through email or any other thing, people will not be able to see your report, which is created through Windows Desktop. Is the concept clear now?
Yes.
Okay. Um, so I think
Yes.
this is a good
Um,
start, right?
One
Yes,
thing,
Joyce.
Shrikant, can the other people can make any changes in the report if it is published in?
No. Unless and until, okay, when you are
They give
publishing
the
the report,
access.
right? When you publish the report, there are different methods in that. Again, when you go deeper inside of it, uh, you are giving the report. Okay, in Power BI, how it happens when you are publishing the report to a certain location, you give access. That access will be like a read-only access or a full report access. If you are giving a full report access, then they can download the report. Again, for them, when they download the report, again they need to have access towards the data set. That is also
Okay.
important. Okay, so when your report has been published, so a report which is the first layer, which has only the visualizations. Along with that, there will also be one more option called the data set. These two together will be published at a certain location. Okay, so when you give access, you need to give access for both the places. Else, based upon the way that you are giving the access, let's say only for the visualization, people will see the visual. No, you're also giving access to the data set. Then they can download the report, and they can download also the data set, and they can start working.
Yeah.
Otherwise around, it just becomes like a read-only access for everyone.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Good. All right. So move on to the next bit. How does the Power BI actually work? Okay. Um, so Power BI works in a very simple procedure, very tiny procedure. But yes, there are certain places where you might have to definitely invest your time, and that becomes the quality report. Okay. So how does it work? So this slide here on the left hand side say, what are the different kinds of inputs that you have? Like Internet of Things, Salesforce, Excel, Google Analytics. So we know that we all can able to connect from the Excel file. That's a base part. However, is that only limited to Excel file? No. There are, it is not just only certainly related to the Excel, but yes, for all the remaining other input sources, like Internet of Things. When I say IoT Internet of Things, yeah, there are a lot of different applications. Facebook, LinkedIn, all these are different IoT things. Okay, so you can connect anything from these applications as well. Also, Salesforce, SAP, Oracle, these are all the different applications again that you are relying on. And Google Analytics, which is from the Google side, where you can still connect the information. So all these different sources can be loaded to or connected to the Power BI desktop. Okay, give me a minute. Right. So all these are connected to the Power BI desktop application, or can be connected to your Power BI desktop application. And after you connect to the Power BI desktop application, so how does your output show? So your output will be coming up by performing these basic steps. One, transforming and cleaning up the data, then creation of the data model, then you are creating the visualization, then create a report. Probably you can just understand in a simple way if you you know on a very simple note to say, how do you create this movie, right? You know, how do you create the movie, right? So all the people, right, all the different characters are being brought together. Now they shot everything, and once it is completed, what they will do, they will take this whole data, whatever they have created, right? So in terms of it, like the movie, different kinds of clips, and then they will take it to the editor. So what the editor does, editor will put everything, and they will start cutting this, and then again patching up different kinds of scenes, like whatever they have shot in different versions or different places, right? So they will bring all these put together in a simple thing. That is what we call it as transforming and cleaning up the data. And once it is created, then they will bring this to a story. What is that story according to the director? What how does he want to showcase to the audience? So he will put every scene, everything in a sequence, right? So that is what you understand. It is called the data modeling. So once it is completed, then what the editor will do is, again, as per the requirements, again, he will be uh, performing a task called the visualization. What does that visualization mean? In like adding of the graphics, adding of any other information related to all these clips. So he will create everything. Once it is completed, then he will give the final output, which what we see is called as a movie. And here it is also the same thing. What you are doing is report. Now, with this example, what I have given you, like the simple movie example. Now, can you guys tell me, think about it, you are in the position of each and every person of this. Let's say, for example, when you are talking, you are shooting the clips, okay? So you are like a director. Now, when you perform this activity like an editor, that you are bringing all this information put together. Now, according to you, where do you spend more time? Just think about it. Every one of you are like a director. You got a chance. Then you think where you spend more time.
Editing.
Editing. Okay. Then
I would say shooting.
shooting. Okay.
Visualizing.
Joyce.
Editing.
Okay. So, oh, your answer is editing. Okay. So, Lisa.
Yeah, it is picturizing and editing, contents, editing, everything.
Okay. So, if you think the reason why I ask you in a different thing, I mean, no offense, just wanted to understand. Okay. How you think about it. So, when Saket say it is a shooting, yes, you might think it is a painful area. So which means this is collection of the inputs and everything. Okay. So collection of inputs will not be usually a kind of painful. You might enjoy it, and you will be also doing it very nicely. Yes, there are a lot of informations that comes into the picture, like your camera, people should be on time, all these kind of things, right? So think of all this information like in a different way, where you need to first understand what are your input sources, from where your data should be picked up from, how much delay your data is coming from. All this information will be your input. But yes, once your inputs are created, everything is perfectly all right. Okay. Then you are gathering all this information and then put together everything in an online. Okay. And sorry guys, sorry, just a minute, sorry, just had one call. Okay, all right. So we are talking about the transforming and cleaning. So that this is again more pain area, because we might think the total number of time that we spend on the input receiving of the inputs, your inputs might be a straight case. Trust me, your inputs might be a straight case. Or let's say in case of Lisa, when she say, so she works on the SAP and then she download the report. Okay. And end of the day, she starts working on an Excel file. Now, collection of this data from the one source, one particular application, your Excel, and then start working on that is fine. But from there, cleansing of the data will take actually a lot of time. You might not definitely understand like how much time you will take on cleansing, and never it is a straight case. There is no standard and defined format for cleaning of a data. You might have to perform different actions based upon the data that you receive. So that becomes your more investment area where you'll be investing your time once data. So once after you create, then your requirements will be huge. A lot of requirements will be there. Each one of the person will have different requirement. Now you have to again churn your data based upon the data that you have received after you transform and clean. And that is where you'll start what we call it as the model creation. Now you should be smart enough to understand it, to create a central data source. And from there you can start creating your visualization. Now in Power BI, what happens is your visualization gets faster. Okay. And your visualizations will also be depending upon your creativity, how you want to show. But a lot of templates, a lot of information that you can do it. Now your visualization will actually take a bit of time, but not again compared to the remaining other data points that you will be working. This is absolutely good. Okay. And once it is created, then that is where you are going to create a report. Now this is a very simple step that you'll understand, but you have to invest a lot of time only on the transforming. But again, once it is completed, this remains always a dynamic. So you can put multiple data sources, but the steps that you are be creating might will be, I mean, sometimes might be the same, or you might have to do some additional steps. Otherwise, around this concept remains the same. Okay. So which is what you are going to learn. Well, this slide I have just created to show you like how a Power BI desktop looks like. And yes, there are a lot of different kinds of versions that have been upgraded since 2020 and then 2022. There is a lot of uh, transformation that has happened in the Power BI. Okay, in the Power BI application, specific to the Power BI application, a lot of things have been changed. Okay, so which you'll be experiencing more, and I'll tell you a kind of a huge difference that I found. One of the things. Okay, this is an old version of the Power BI slide that I'm showing you, wherein you can see the visualizations are just shown up like this. But now in the latest application, what happened, they have given in a grouped way. Okay, so visualizations are grouped in a certain direction, and again the analytics has been grouped in a different direction. And along with that, what you also have gained with the new latest application is one of the painful areas you might come across in your professional life. You may or may not, again, you may or may not have come across a PDF conversion. So we always used to get a PDF documents with us, and then whenever you want to convert this PDF document or extract this information from the PDF, now that becomes a painful area. Either you will rely on the online applications, or if you have a PDF editor, again, you have to do it. But again, acquiring a PDF editor license is not so easier. It is very huge cost. Now, even personally, if you want to offer it, it almost costs around 1200 to 1300 per month. Such a huge money that we need to spend. So such kind of PDF editor options or anything that you want to extract from the PDF and then put it on your report is really tedious when it comes to the PDF part. But again, in the latest version of the Power BI, now this is what you have got. You can extract any content from your PDF in a beautiful way. But again, as I told you, you have to invest a bit of time on cleaning and transforming. That is 100% sure. But yes, your PDF format, whatever you're, let's say, for example, you are receiving a PDF invoice for each of the month. Okay, you want to extract the data out of it. Now your format remains the same in the invoice. So you will plug this information to the Power BI. You should be able to extract it, just like that, and make a transformation on that. So next time you'll place the document that will automatically give you the data. You don't need to rebuild this whole step. The beautiful of the Power BI, as I told you, like this is a mixture of different applications like as I said, Power Pivot, Power Apps. But what is the other thing that it is also giving you? SQL, Excel, VBA. This is also a mixture of all these are also mixed in the Power BI, which you'll be looking at. Okay. Well, I'm not going to touch base anything here because we'll see everything on the live. So this is simple slide that talks about like what are the different kinds of connectivities that you have right now on the PowerPoint, sorry, on the Power BI. Okay, so these are the different kinds of connectors and connective and that you have got in Power BI application, and there are multiple sources, huge and huge. Okay, so we will definitely not using all these connectors, but yes, whenever you want to start a report, then think about it and then come back. You can check what kind of data source you have and how do you connect it. So you can connect to SAP, you can connect to your Oracle, or you can connect to any IBM server or SQL server, anything. Okay, provided you have login credentials, perfect login credentials. Yes, this can be done. Um, these are the sample visualizations, but what were the sample visualizations I'm showing you on the screen? These are like very sample. Okay, we have got a lot of visualizations right now, lot and lot, since Power BI, as I told you, like the statement you can see down, Power BI gets updated and released every month. So today, whatever you are creating a particular report, maybe after a month, you might see a new version of Power BI. Okay, but the question is, does my old report will be open on the new Power BI version? Yes, it will be open. There is no harm in that. But when you share the report with someone else, if the person is using a very old version, then Power BI will automatically notify them that, hey, look, your report has been created in an old version. I mean, in the latest version, but your version is a little old. Please upgrade the version. So that will automatically do. So the moment once they click on, upgrade option, that will download the application and it will automatically reinstall. Okay. So this is how the Power BI also works in terms of the visualization and how it alerts the user if they're using a latest or an oldest version. This slide talks about a hierarchy. Okay, what hierarchy has been maintained on the Power BI. So when I talk about hierarchy here, so when you create a report on the Windows desktop application, okay, that is called a Power BI report. Again, once again, I repeat it. Whatever the report that you are creating within Power BI application, that is called the Power BI report. And the extension of the Power BI report is .pbix. Okay, it's .pbix. So remember, right now, whatever you are going to learn and execute will be a Power BI report. Okay. And after you do this Power BI report, you download, you publish this report to your online application. Okay. So that is where you will have, you're also publishing a simple Power BI report. Now, all these Power BI reports within that, okay, there will be multiple pages. Like there are different visualizations that you will be creating, like an Excel workbook. If you imagine, or let's connect you back to your Excel application. In each and Excel application, you'll have either one, two, three, or different sheets, right? So now understand that those sheets are called pages in Power BI. Okay. The technology, I mean, the technical name that you will be giving, instead of saying sheet, you will be calling it as a page in Power BI. Okay. Now, these multiple pages form a report, like how the multiple sheets form Excel workbook. Okay. Multiple pages will form a report. Now, all these different data from different workbooks, you put it in a single workbook, okay, in a different kind of workbook. Then that is called a dashboard in Power BI. So in a sense, in a simple way, you are creating multiple pages and each of the page might have a different visuals in your report. Now you have created multiple reports like that. There are 3 or 4 different reports. Now each visualization from one of the reports you are creating, and then you're creating a space in Power BI, and you put the tiles there. So in a tile format. Okay. So these pages will go and sit as a tile in a dashboard. So that is what is called a Power BI dashboard. So the terminology that you need to understand in Power BI dashboard, when someone say, I have created a Power BI dashboard, check with them. Is it really that they have created a dashboard? Because a dashboard will have multiple tiles, which means these are different visualizations coming from different kinds of report, not just one single report. Then that is called a dashboard. Else, they else, if that is not the case, then it is just called a report with different pages having different visualizations. Okay, so this is what the terminology that you need to understand now. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay. Should I ask you this way? Have you understood so far what we are talking about?
Yes, but I have a thing. See, I used to prepare a report on what the day balanced or whatever it is. We used to prepare a balance sheet on that.
Mm-hmm.
So if I prepare a balance sheet in the Power BI and if I just mail it over to my concern manager, whoever it is, can they able to see all the dashboard, whatever you are saying? No? They are able to see if they don't have even Power BI in their system.
Okay. They will not be able to see this report when you share this with your manager unless and until they have the Power BI desktop application.
Oh,
That's the first thing. The second part, if your organization gives or provides you a Power BI online service application credentials, then what will happen? You have the opportunity to take this report, create the report in desktop application, publish it to your Power BI online service. And then what you can do is you can actually download a PowerPoint presentation. You can export that visualization to a PowerPoint presentation. Okay. Like you have with the Office 365, what happens, or with the latest Power BI desktop application, there is an opportunity where you can download a live PowerPoint presentation. So when I say the live PowerPoint presentation, you share this with anyone. Okay. So what is going to happen, that will automatically get connected to your place where you have published your report. So your manager should be able to see the whole content in your PowerPoint presentation. No, if you want to share it as a PDF, you can share it as a PDF, or else you can give access to your manager so that he can also see your report. So there are multiple ways where you can share this report and how you can make an approach methodology for this. Clear?
yeah, yes, it's clear.
All right, good. Um, so this slide, just, I mean, you don't need to concentrate more heavy on this, but yeah, this is for your information to say what is the difference between an desktop application and an online service. Like as I said, on the left hand side, you will see you can connect to multiple data sources, and you can do the transforming, modeling, shaping, everything will be done here. And you can create measures, calculated columns, which we'll be talking about more. And you also have the Python scripting here, where using the Python scripting, you can also create a visualization, and you have a lot of themes. And most specific, we call it as RLS creation. When I say RLS creation, it is called row level security. Okay. So I mean, any application that you use, the very first thing that comes to your mind, what about the security, right? So that is one of the question that rings in our mind for any application that you have been introduced to, either it is Tableau, Power BI, or any other application. That is what the first thing comes to our mind. What happens with the security level, right? So how do I secure my data? How do I securely send the data to the people? So I don't want everyone to see my information. I want only certain information to be shown. Is it possible in Power BI? And remember this point, this is what we call it as a RLS creation, which is a row level security. However, whatever you do on the Power BI desktop application will be only once you have done the RLS creation also. It will start working only when you publish this to an online. Otherwise, creating an RLS report, or let's say creating an RLS level within your desktop application and sharing it over an email to your manager will not make sense. Will not make sense. So RLS creation will happen in the Power BI desktop, but you will see the result on the Power BI online. So just understand this method. Okay. So um, doing an RLS will be only once you have the Power BI, do it. Otherwise, around don't touch basic. That's what I would suggest. And yes, there are different ways where you can hide your information, where you can unhide your information. Those things can be done here on that Power BI desktop, and then you can share a report. That works as well here. Okay. And that is what on the Power BI desktop, that is what it is offering. And on the Power BI service, as I told you, not all the data sources can be offered the way you are showing onto the Power BI desktop, because Power BI online service is an online application, so you can only connect to certain data sources, but not all the data sources. And this is the only place where you can create a dashboard. As I told you, multiple tiles are been pinned onto the dashboard, like multiple visuals from different reports will be coming onto the dashboard. So that's why you create the dashboard only on the Power BI online service. And you will also have a different kinds of applications and the workspaces. That is where you will be seeing on the Power BI. And sharing, as I told you, like you can share the report to any one of your colleagues on the Power BI service. And the data flow, paginated reports, RLS management, all these are different kinds of. When I say gateway connection, this is something like more advanced level, where you create a report, publish it, uh, connect it to your data source. Okay. And you know that your data source gets refreshed every end of the year day. If you are 100% confirmed about it, then using the gateway method, what Power BI also will help you is it will also refresh your data set and also create your report, and then make sure the report is ready for you at any given point in time. Okay, rather than you go and then open the report and then refresh it, this will automatically help you in doing the refreshing of the report and then collecting the latest information. Now, when it does it, it maintains the version, doesn't maintain a version, depends upon the connectivity settings that we are creating. Okay, but on a nutshell, this is what the gateway connections are about. Now, what is that both in common, which we are going to learn more? Reports, visualizations, security and then filters, bookmarks, question and answers, are visuals. So these are the common in between both, and which you are going to also learn more. And you'll get more expertise or more hands-on experience on these different points, which are absolutely um, easier. But yes, as I told you, as a first time user, you might take a bit time, but you'll get more updated and more used to this when you do a hands-on experience. Well, this is all I have got on the presentation, and I hope right now you have downloaded the Power BI, it is installed, and now you guys are good to go. Can I take a confirmation from Joyce and Lisa?
No, I'm not able to do that. It's not downloaded yet. I may have some problem with the internet connection, I think so.
Oh, okay. So how do you want to proceed then? So are you good? We can go ahead with?
Yeah, no issues. We can, anyway, the recordings will be available. No, you can go ahead, no issues.
Okay. Lisa, you're good?
Yes, I have downloaded Shrikant.
Okay. Installation is also completed, right?
Yes, it's over.
Hey, wait, I'm confused with those two tones. So one who downloaded is Joyce or
Yes,
Yes.
Lisa? Joyce.
No,
yes.
Lisa is me, where I have not able to download, and Joyce is downloaded.
Okay. Okay. All right. Lisa, just give it a try later one more time, okay? And then probably you can
Sure.
go through the recording and then again do it.
Yeah.
And it's not good to see that you could not able to work with us along with us. But yeah, hope you will be learning a bit on this.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So before we move on to this, I have something to talk about the data sets. So you have received all this data. Okay. So like you have got few images and you have also received few of the information. Like the information or the sample that we are going to talk about today is related to the Zomato food delivery restaurants. Okay, so few of the information has been collected, and what we are going to see is looking at the statistics over across all the Zomato restaurants which have been tied up or established, or let's say you'll say maybe working different kinds of restaurants which are affiliated with um, Zomato. So you have a lot of information has been collected between Asia, Africa, Europe, NAM, SAM. So we are going to take all this information, and also the information has been put in bits and pieces, because since you receive the information from different continents, what happens? Each of the continent have different currencies, different styles, different cuisines, and a lot of other information differs. Now, what we are going to do is to create a report for Zomato in the Power BI application, like they can see the statistics for all the continents put together, and then takes a comparison between each of the continent and how does it work. So there are certain things that we are working on, focusing on. So this is what the example that we have brought in today, and let's just kickstart on that. Now open your Power BI desktop application once you have downloaded and installed. Open the Power BI application. So this is how the Power BI application should look like on the first note the moment once you open it. And give me a confirmation once you guys are open. Saket and Joyce.
Yes, opened.
Yeah.
All right, lovely. So once you have opened it, let's just do the first command called Control S. Give it Control S, and this will ask you to save the file, right? So once you save the file, what I would recommend you to do is to go back to your place where you have downloaded your data sets. Okay, where your data sets have been downloaded, just keep it there and then mention it as day one and save.
So we don't need to click anywhere. It's just Control S, right?
Yes, Control S, just a Control S.
Okay. And save where I have saved this working
Right,
files. Okay.
right.
Shall I give it specific name or is it day one, right? You
Just
mentioned.
just give it day one. Yeah.
Okay. Done.
Okay. How about you, Joyce? Have you done that?
No, I'm just trying. Please wait.
Right, right. No problem at all.
Yes, we can just one question just came in my mind. Like suppose you were explaining this Power BI desktop and then online service, right? So what
Mhm.
I understood so far that one is I think paid service and one is free of cost, right? Is it correct?
Right. So your desktop application is a free software, like you can
Okay.
download it and you can
Okay.
work on that.
Mhm.
And but again, the Power BI online service is a paid software. Like you need to have a license for that.
Okay.
Okay. Joyce, any luck?
Yes, done. Okay. Yes, done.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So good. Then let's do the next step. The reason why you are doing this day one, so you will see what you have learned today, and you will also compare the same thing with your day 4. By the time when you reach to the day 4, how your file is. So this is for your understanding about how you have improvised yourself on the day 1 to day 4. Okay, right. So before I start, just wanted to give you an information again. So follow my screen. Okay, whenever I say the follow my screen, I'll give you time, and whenever I ask you to do it, then you will execute. So first thing, follow my screen and then follow this circle. The focus whenever I say, for example, that uh, the options here on the top, like home, insert, modeling, and view, these are called the tabs. Okay, and within the tab, you will have multiple groups called data, clipboard, queries, insert. These are all called the groups. Okay, and within the groups, you will have the options. Like whenever I say, for example, guys, can you click on the transform data? The very first thing what you will be looking at is under the home tab, under the queries group, you will be having the transform data. So when I say the option, I will tell you, go to the home tab, click on the queries, look for the queries group and find the transform data. So your focus should be on the tab name, group name, and within that you will find out what is the option that I'm talking about. Okay, so this is how we are going to we are going to learn the whole session, so that you'll be focusing main on where I am focusing on the circle, so you will be able to focus on the same thing. And you will first look at my screen and then take the information. Once it is done, I'll give you a time, then you go back and then apply it again back on your screens. Okay, agreed everyone? This is okay?
Yes, okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So let's just so before we start this, what we need to have certain data for doing the visualization and creation of certain report on the Power BI. Correct. So data is really important. Now, two things what we are going to learn. One, the place where you see here, okay, this bit here, okay, this is called the canvas. This bit here is called the canvassing. All right. And on the canvas, you are going to create the visualizations. However, to create the visualization, you need to have a report. Now you have an option here where it says import data from Excel or import data from any other source. The very first thing you might think, why can't we use the information here? Yes, you can see the information. You can use the options, but the moment you do it, what happens in this method, you will be again working directly onto the Power BI screen, but not on the backend screen of it. Okay. Can I go back to the Perkins screen? Yes, you can go back. That is for sure. But right now, straight away, you're working directly onto the Power BI screen. Now, what we are going to learn is, let's focus on the backend of the Power BI first. Why, how the backend works. Let's learn this step. After you learn the step, then you will come back and work on the Power BI screen. Now, let's look at the Power BI query. Let's say Power Query Editor. As I told you that Power BI works on 3 different applications like Power Query, Power Pivot, and Power View, Power Maps. Power Maps again comes onto the Power BI. So Power Query and Power Pivot will be the options that you'll be working on the backend. So let's work on that. So for that, how do you go back at any given point in time? So remember each step from here. After you open a Power BI application at any given point in time, or either after you open or when you are in between of the report, and when you want to switch back to the backend of it, the only option you will have every time, you are going to click on the home tab, and under the queries group, you have an option called the transform data. So when you click on the transform data, this will directly open you a screen here called the Power Query Editor. So do this and then give me a confirmation you guys are able to see the same thing.
Yes.
All right. Good. So this is what is called the Power Query Editor. So the first step, as I told you, that whenever anyone asks you, like, how do I go into the Power Query Editor? This is how you need to direct them. Click on the Home tab and then click on the Query group where you'll see the transform data. Now within the Power Query Editor, you'll have a lot of options, multiple options. Okay. So on the Power BI screen that you see the options, compared to that in the Power Query Editor, you will have a lot of options. Now this option will be more and more, and you'll learn more lot of things here. Okay. So when I teach you each portion of it, I'll also tell you what are the different kinds of languages that it is being using and how much you need to spend time on such kind of languages to understand. Okay. And my belief, this will be of so easier things for you rather than if you have a thought that okay, this is something a bigger application that I might not learn, but this becomes much more simpler because the options are also simple. It all depends upon what you think, how you get, and where you do. Simple. Okay. Now let's look on the Power Query Editor screen. So you'll have the Home tab where you will spend more time. You'll also have the Transform tab where you'll also spend time here. Add column and then View. Okay. Tools and Help are the places where you don't touch base anything. Honestly, there is nothing that you have to really invest your time and then learn. But these are the four columns that you're be or the four tabs that you're going to spend your time. Okay. Home, Transform, Add column, and then View. Now you might think, I have got a lot of options here. Really, Shrikant, this will take a lot of time to know. Absolutely not. Don't worry about that. What happens that most of the options are coming from the transform, add column, and then view. All these are actually whatever the options you see, those are options are actually inscribed onto the home tab. Okay, so that's why home tab have given a lot of informations where you can see what are the different most frequently options. You will see it here. Okay, like as I told you, like choose columns, remove columns, all these. There are certain things like replacing. All this will be coming up from different in the different tabs also. So the options are a bit less, but looks more. Now let's kickstart by loading a data. As I told you, to do the analysis, we need to have certain data, right? Now, as per the example that we are teaching, you are going to learn how you load a data from Excel file to a Power BI editor screen or either to a Power BI screen. Okay, so a static Excel files, how you are loading, this is what you're going to learn. Okay, once you are good with this and once you are when you have spent more time, enough time, that even you can just do it without even seeing, or you can educate someone without even seeing the application. Once you're pretty confident about it, then move on to the different other applications, sorry, the input applications that I'm talking about, and then again you can play around. So for now we are going to load an Excel file. Like, how do I load the file? First thing, home tab. Okay, under the home tab, under the new query group, you are going to have an options called the new source. Okay.
Sorry to interrupt, Lakshmikant.
Uh-huh.
Mine is downloaded and it's asking a language. Okay, and do any admin passwords are there?
No, nothing.
Then what I have done, I don't know. Can I please share my screen and show you?
Uh, just a minute. Are you using an office laptop?
Yeah.
Okay. So your office laptop is secured that whatever the application you download, you need to have a user ID and admin, user admin ID password.
Yeah, of course. Because I have not just connected the VPN. Without VPN, I'm just using right now.
Okay. You have not connected with the VPN. Okay. Maybe if you have got your credentials that works as an admin for your system, then you can try.
So
It should
if I
work
go
out.
ahead with my credential, then I have to use my VPN. It's okay
Hmm.
then. I can just concentrate the class today.
You don't have a personal laptop?
Yeah, I have, but I had some issue with that only. That's why I just switch over with the office laptop right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Maybe you can check with ID. It's a free software. It's not a licensed one, so you should be able to get it done.
Is it so? Okay.
Yep.
I'll just carry on.
All right.
Fine.
No problem. All right. So as a first step, go to the home tab, and under the home tab, you will see the new query group, and wherein you'll see the new source. click on the new source, you will see multiple options here. Okay, when you click on the new source, you will see multiple options. So the first option that you are going to see is the Excel workbook. Okay, and click on the Excel workbook. This will take you to a window where it will ask you to browse your file. Where is your file? I believe the data set I have shared with you is in a zip folder, and I believe everyone of you have unzipped it. Or is there anyone like who have not zipped it, unzipped it? If you have not unzipped, just unzip it. Okay, otherwise around you are not going to see this information. So you have the data set here. So right click on this and you are going to get an extract all option. The moment once you click on the extract all, you will see this data loaded at a certain place. That's the point one. Point number two, when you are loading your information or when you are saving the information, I would recommend based on the laptop that you are using. If it is a personal laptop, well and good. If it is an office laptop, do not try to uh, download this information and keep it under OneDrive, because certain laptops are connected to the OneDrive, and without OneDrive also you have one more option. Reason being, at some point in time, you might see a kind of errors that might pop up when you're connecting the data source, keeping in a OneDrive location. So I would recommend for now, do not do it. But once you have got a hands-on experience, you know how to deal with that options, you can still do. So try to put this in some downloads or local download folder or local document folder, wherever it is good, or your desktop, wherever. And then you can do it. Or it's much more better if you are having a additional drive like a D drive or E drive, you can still place it over there and then you can connect it. But my recommendation would be do it in this way, so that do not try to load from your OneDrive. Try to take a look at that. I mean, I don't have everything. Otherwise, you see, I have a OneDrive here, but I still rely on the local downloads and documents. All right. So once you see that the files have been extracted and then kept, I want you to guys to select on the Asia file that you have received and click on open. So once you open, you will see the connectivity window, and you will see a window again with a data preview on that. Now I'll stop it here. I'll give you time. Just go back and then execute the same thing. Like as you are already on the Power Query Editor, go to the Home tab and on the new group, under the new query group, you will find the new source option. You click on the drop down of it. You will see an Excel workbook. Click on that. It will take you to a window where you will see your files. So select the Asia file and then click OK, or let's say open. Then you should see a navigator window like this. Now take time and then do it, and then let me know once you both are ready with this. Are we done?
Yep.
Okay. Joyce? Are you still figuring it out how to do it, Joyce? Or will you be able to do this? Joyce, are you there?
Yeah, you're in mute.
Maybe she He is on mute or lost the connectivity. Okay. All right. Here is Joyce. Yes, Joyce. What happened?
Yes, sir. I have added the file.
Okay.
Hmm.
You're on mute till now, and then we didn't receive a response. I was thinking you went out of the training.
No. Yes, it's
Okay.
done. No issues.
All right. Very good.
Yeah. Hmm.
After you do this, now you should be able to see a window called the navigator, and under the navigator you will see the options called Zomato Asia. So the Zomato Asia here, whatever you see on this particular window, this is the sheet name. So within the Asia file, there is only one particular sheet called the Zomato Asia. Now, when you have multiple sheets, you will see all the multiple sheet names here, and it is where you will decide which sheet that you want to open. Okay, but for now, since you have got only one particular sheet, you are going to see this as a one particular sheet. And also, second part, what you also need to learn. Let me see. You have this. Okay. Now, when you look at this information here, you see the symbol before the Zomato Asia and after the checkbox. There is a tiny symbol here. Correct. Now this symbol denotes that the data what it identified. So what the Power Query editor had identified your data is, it is in the simple format. Like when I say simple format, it is not in a table format. It is just a data within the sheet. So you can see the symbol. This is how it looks like. This is how it looks like. But you will also see sometimes there is another icon you might also see. Okay, which at any given point in time, when I see that icon, I'll show you. Then the other icon will be in the table format. So what does the table format mean in? When your Excel file is having an Excel table format, your data is in an Excel table format, then Power Query Editor will also identify that your data is in a table format. So what will happen? Your Zomato Asia, it will also show you the data in a sheet data format. It will also show you in the table format. Now it is your choice either to take this data to the Power Query Editor in a table format view or a normal view. After you put the data into the Power Query Editor, it will automatically put it as a table. However, it will first check with you, do you want me to consider the table or do you want me to consider the data from the sheet? So this is where you need to identify tiny details. You definitely need to look at and keep an observation. That is where most of the time people fails to do. Okay, and that is where you will not even observe like where you went wrong. So look at these points when you're doing this, which is much more better. So that's why I'm giving you some options. All right, let's click on this checkbox. I'm going to click on the checkbox here. Okay, and the moment once I click on the checkbox, you will see there is a preview. Now don't expect that when your data is having around thousands and thousands of information, your data will not be shown up here. All the 100% data will not be shown up here. Whatever you see is a preview here. So it will just tell you to take a confirmation key. Yes, I'm selecting the proper data. I'm actually picking up the correct data. So when you have multiple sheets, you can select each one of the multiple sheet. Each one of the sheet preview will be looked in here. So once you do that, click on OK.
Sir, one thing,
Yes.
like suppose you mentioned that if we have thousands of lines, right? So preview will
Mhm.
show only whatever is the preview in scope for preview, right? But
Right.
actually I get ensured that data is loaded. It's not that any sort of, that half of the data is loaded or something incomplete data.
So you're
No.
saying the missing information is not there, like you see every data.
Yeah, ideally it's not showing in preview, but on background everything is loaded. I can get that kind of
Feel,
assurance because
feel.
yeah.
Even that's what again I'm saying. Preview is a kind of a preview. So
Right.
when you talk about a movie and then when you talk about a trailer will
Yeah.
have only the cuts of the data.
Yeah.
But when you get into the details of it, that becomes as a movie. Similarly, the preview is the same thing.
Yeah.
You might have thousands and thousands of data, let's say around
Mhm.
9,000, 8,000.
Mm.
But Power BI will preview only the 1,000 rows, the
Mhm.
first 1,000 rows.
Mhm.
Okay. But that does
Mhm.
mean it has all the data with that. However, whatever you do, it will work on the first 1,000 rows and it will apply the whole thing on your entire data set when it is
Mhm.
giving you the output.
Mhm. Mhm. But yeah, that point I understood. But I just want that at least. I mean, my whole data is now loaded. It's not
Very
showing in
good.
preview. That's fine.
Very good. That's fine. That's not a big deal.
Okay.
That's absolutely okay.
Because
No.
why I'm telling you, because I struggled. I couple of times loaded my one big file, and I was
Mhm.
seeing only few lines here. So I was worried that whether my data is loaded or not, or it's kind of incomplete data loaded. But now I got it that it's just a preview, but on background the file is loaded basically. That's what you mean.
Right, right.
Okay.
Because
So
that's the very first thing every first time user will get a feel. Give
yeah,
me the
yeah.
data, hey kini.
Pura hai ki nahi? हाँ, right, correct.
So that will always be there. I know. I struggled even like the same way.
Okay, sure.
And like as I told you, like you come out with a lot of experience, you will understand a lot of things in that.
Yeah, yeah.
Good. So now what is that we are talking about here? Huh. So have you guys loaded the information like this? Now, do you see the same thing? Probably you can just give me the
Yes,
information.
yes, I could see.
Lovely, lovely. Okay. So as a user, what is that again? You need to learn and what you need to observe when you're loading the data. So this is what we are going to see now. Point number one, the left hand side, what you see here, left hand side, this is called the sheet name. Now, do you observe the symbol before the Zomato Asia now?
Yes, it's table formatter.
Right, it's a table format. So now you remember that whatever the icon that I have shown you earlier, like it is in the sheet format, right? So this is in the table format now. So your data is now converted into a table format.
Okay.
So the left hand section, this is called your query. Okay. And the data that you are loading here each of the data will have a name. So when you are loading the same data, maybe let's say, for example, you are loading two different files with the same sheet name. What will happen? You might ask me like, Lakshmi, what will happen in that case? Don't nothing. It's just create a duplicate of it. But your data will be original. The name will be duplicated like Zomato Asia. The next table will be Zomato Asia one. So this is the query section that you will see. Okay. Now in the middle of this, on the right hand side of the query section, what you see is the data. So this is the entire data set what you have loaded from your Excel file. Above this, just above this is called the formula bar. Just like in Excel file you see, right? There is a sheet name, there is a columns, and then there are rows. Above the columns you will see the formula bar. So you will also see a formula bar here. Okay. Just in case any one of you is unable to see a formula bar here at any given point in time, nothing to worry. All you need to do is go to the view tab, and once you click on the view tab on the left hand side under the layout group, you will see an option called the formula bar. Ensure that this formula bar is checked. Okay. And do not get panicked the moment if you don't see a formula bar. Okay. So all you need to do is to click on this checkbox of the formula bar. This will automatically appear. Okay. So left hand side is the query, and the right hand side of the query, you will see the data pertaining to that query. And just above that, you will see the formula bar. This is what we have discussed. Now on the right hand side, you should see an option called the query settings. Again, if you are not seeing the query settings, or galti se agar if you have closed this query settings, okay, then again, what you need to do is to go to the view tab, and under the layout group, you will see the first option called the query settings. Click on the query settings, then you should be able to see the query settings window back. want, you can give it try by closing this and again go back to the view tab, and under the layout group, use the query settings option. Click on that. This will automatically appear the query setting on the right hand side. And is it important and necessary? Yes, this is very important. And it is only very, very important for us now. And under the query settings, what you are going to see is called the properties, which is the name of that. Now, the same name will be appearing on the left-hand side of your query. Now, any changes that I do here, okay, any changes that I do here, you don't do it, but I'm just doing it. Any changes that I do, okay, this will automatically reflect on the left-hand side also. Just take a look here. I renamed it as Zomato Asia -first. Now you can see Zomato Asia -first. Okay, so whenever you load the information, whenever you want to give a different name for that, you can start giving the name. So this will automatically reflect onto your query section also. So this is what the very first thing that you're going to see on the query settings. Now below the name, you have applied steps. Okay, this is pretty important to understand. On the applied steps, let me make you understand about the behavioral of this applied step. What is going to happen? Now let's consider different things. Lisa is loading her data from her folder. And when she is uploading the data from her folder, all the input files are on an Excel file. Okay. Now on the Excel file, whatever the information that you load the Excel file from the Excel file to your Power Query editor, then what is going to happen? You will see the source, navigation. You will see this common steps called source, navigation, promoted header, and the change type. These are the 4 steps that you see very common. Okay, very, very, very common when you load the data from your Excel file. Other than Excel file, if it is your PDF or if it is any other format that you are loading the data from, for instance, source, navigation are the 2 steps that you will be seeing very, very common in everything. Okay, source and navigation will be in every step. And not only just other than Excel, I'm talking about. For instance, if you are loading the data from your SAP, you are loading the data from your Oracle, you are loading the data from Google Analytics or any other data source where you are directly connecting. Okay, so you're directly connecting to any of the ERP systems. Then you will also see that source and navigation will automatically be there. 100% source and navigation will be there. Now let's see what is the source. When I click on the source, you will see from where you have connected the data is what it is showing you here. If you see, this is the path of the file from where you have loaded it. And after that, the navigation steps come in like this, wherein from that particular data, you can see that there is an information updated. So it automatically understand that, converts the data to a table, and then that is where the navigation comes. It is navigating you to a entire data set. That is what the second step means. Third step, again, you will see the promoted header. Why the promoted header? If you look at the navigation step on your Excel file, you have the headers. You have already got the header. However, this will automatically make sure you can see the very first row here. It is the first row. There is a column header, but on the top, the names are given as column 1, column 2, column 3. Like in Excel, if you see, there's an option. When you convert your entire data to an Excel table format, it will ask you with headers or without header. If you choose the option without header, Excel file will automatically create column 1, column 2, column 3 like that. That is what you are seeing in this navigation option on the Power Query Editor. And the next step is the promoted header, which is automatically being done by the Power Query Editor. So it identified that there are headers, and then it will automatically do a promoted. There are certain times where you might not see this option called promoted header, but you want to make sure your data is showing in a promoted header method. I'll show you that. So change type. What is the change type meaning? After the data has been promoted, okay, Power Query Editor will do this job for you. If you observe on the promoted header bit now, you will see for each of the name of the column, there is something called ABC123, 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 ABC123. To the rest of your data, it will show as ABC123. Reason. Initially, when the data has been loaded, it will understand that data is in a text format. It didn't identify like what kind of format that you are loading the data. Initially, it will understand there is a data that it needs to load, that it is loaded. But change type, what happens when I click on the change type, you will see each one of the restaurant, each one of the column header has something against like for example, the restaurant ID. You observe this, it says 123, country code, it says 123, city, it says ABC. What does this mean in? This mean your data Power Query editor is automatically identifying your information. Either it is in a text format or a number format or a date format or a time format or any other format that you give. That will automatically come here. This is actually called the change type. So on the change type, what you're looking at right now is your data is automatically detected, like what kind of format it is in. However, in this example, when we are dealing with, I would recommend do not use this change type for now, because every data when it is converting, we don't require all the data should be converted. For example, if I go back to the right hand side, you could see there is a date format. Also, the date format is automatically updated as a date. At any given point in time, if you want to convert a particular format, let's say there might be a situation where you might see a data is not automatically properly detected. So you might ask like, Lakshmi, how do I change this option when my Power Query editor is not detecting? A simple thing, you need to click on this particular bit. Okay, you need to click on this ABC123 or whatever the option you see. The moment you see all this, you will see multiple options coming up, like either you want to convert the data to a decimal number or a fixed decimal number or a whole number, percentage, date. You will see a lot of options here. These are the most of the options that you'll be using, and most of the common point where you will see within your data. Okay, the moment you choose any one of the option, based on that, it will change the data. However, you will also see based upon what kind of format it is. If it is 1.2, remember that it is a decimal. If it is dollar, it is a fixed decimal. If it is 123 whole number, percentage also percentage, date and time is date and time. You will see the difference between these two. Or if it is only a time, you can see accordingly, whatever you select, it will automatically give you that icon. Now what you need to do is remove this change type and remove the promoted header also. For a moment, remove these two, the promoted header and the change type. I'll show you how you can promote a header. After I ensure that the applied steps, I have removed the change type and the promoted header. Now I could see the data has been at a stage where it is sourced and navigated. I'll go to the home tab. I'll go to the home tab, and under the home tab, under the transform group, there is an option called use first row as a header. Okay, I repeat it, under the home tab, under the transform group, I have a use first row as a header option. Now I click on this. Now you will see the promoted headers is automatically identified. And whenever you do this step, whenever you do this use first row as a header, which is the promoted header option, it will always be followed by the change type. The moment you use the promoted header at any given point, remember the change type step will always be continued with the promoted header automatically. And now what I want you to do is, I want you to remove the change type for a moment and retain only the promoted header. So now you'll have the source, you'll have the navigation, you'll have the promoted header. Only these three particular steps. Now you guys can do it and then give me a confirmation that you are able to experience the same thing.
Yeah, yes, for me.
Okay, Joyce.
Yes. Yes, I
Okay.
can also do.
All right. So far, any questions? So far, any questions on what we have discussed? Yes,
No,
no, maybe.
no, it's clear.
Okay, all right. All right, so then now we have done the source, we have done the navigation, we have done the promoted header. Now that what I wanted to know is, since I have got loaded the information for the Asia table, I know this belongs to the Asia table alone. However, I also want to identify this data set belongs to the only the Asia, not the other continent. Okay, because down the line, what I'm trying to do is I want to load all the information from different continents and then club together to a single table. This is what my I wanted to do on the later stage. Now for that, when I club all this information to a single table, now how do I differentiate that the data belongs to a certain country and a certain continent? So we don't have an option here with the data what we have given, because if you look at, we've got the restaurant ID, country code, city, and locality and everything. But there is nothing in specific that says the continent is Asia. So now what I wanted to do is, how do I add a continent, a table, or let's say a column with a label called Asia in that? Let's work on this now. You have an option here on the top where it says add column. Okay, so click on the add column tab, and then you will see different options here. Under the add column tab, there is a general group. Within the general group, I have an option called the custom column. So I click on the custom column, and the moment once I click on the custom column, there is a window that appears here. Okay, tell me what column that you want to add. So I'm going to give a continent as the column name. I'm giving continent as a column name. And within that, now I need to write a formula or that represents or that says it is Asia. So in Power BI right now, what we are doing right now, this is called the M query language. This is called the M query language, and also we call it as DAX. Okay, so Power BI, or let's say the Power Query Editor, specific to the Power Query Editor, it works on the DAX. Okay, like how we call it as in a formula in Excel, we call it as DAX formulas in Power Query. So I'm going to write a simple formula called Asia. That's all. Okay, I'm just putting it in a double quotes. Reason why do I put this in a double quote? Because since I need only the text called Asia, so in order to identify that I'm specifically looking out for a particular text to represent as Asia, I keep that in a double quotes, so that it will identify, the Power Query Editor will identify that, okay, you want to put a formula called Asia, or let's say the text called Asia. So is equal to double quotes, and I mention it in Asia, and the continent name as continent, C in capital, and then followed by small letter. And the moment once I write the formula here, you can also see what you'll observe here. You will always see this message called no syntax errors have been detected. But yes, when you are writing the formula, or when you are in between progressing of the formula, it will say token show error. Okay, which means it is not complete. That is what it means. It is not yet completed. So it will identify at each and every element that you're writing, it will identify either you're writing the formula proper or not. Okay, you will see this here, and you'll also see it here. The color will automatically change in this position. Okay, where you're going to experience it soon. But now this is what we have done, a very simple thing called Asia, and then click OK. The moment I click OK, you should see that there is a new column which has been updated called the continent, and the Asia is the text format, and you'll see the format of this is shown like any. It says any. ABC 123 का मतलब होता है it is any format. मतलब it could be a general format, text format, or a number format, anything. Okay. So do it till here, and then see you're able to add the column. So how do you do that? Again, go to the add column tab and then click on under the general group, click on the custom column, and then once it is open, you'll see you'll give the continent name, and then you'll inscribe the letter Asia in a double quotes and then update. Click on OK. You should see that there is a new continent column which is added on the table. Now do this and then see if you're able to experience the same.
Yes, it's done. I could see the same
Okay,
thing, added custom.
lovely.
It's fine.
And now what you'll also see the observations. Now the remaining other observations that we are talking about. One, if you have added the continent column, like the same thing I have done. Now you should see here on the left hand side, just where am I focusing? It says 11 columns and 999 plus rows. 11 columns and 999 rows. So do you see the 11 columns, everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. And you'll also see the 999 plus rows next to the columns.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
This indicate that there are more than 999 rows here. Now, next to that, you will also see there is something called column profiling based on top 1000 rows. Do you both see this message?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, right. Now let me talk about what this column profiling based on top 1000 row. As I said earlier in the preview button, whatever the data you see, right? So the same data you are also seeing here. However, what Power BI does, you load more number of information, no matter what, you load more number of information, but it will be showing you the top 1000 rows here alone. So which means when you scroll down this button, you will also see more than 1000, which means your data is actually shown. But your column right now, whatever it is showing up is based upon the top 1000 rows. You are giving the input. It will be applied for the remaining thing. For example, how do you ensure or how do you say, yes, it is only showing 1000 rows, not more than that. Although my data have got around 7000 or 8000. How do you say that, Srikanth? Like it is only showing 1000. Simple thing. A very, very simple thing. Do you see on the table, on this table here, okay? Do you see anything special on this table? Just take a look at the table and then tell me, do you see something any special?
Filters are there.
Filters are there.
Numbering.
Numbering, okay.
I mean, spatial in terms of table, you want to say?
Yeah, right from this section to till this section. Do you see something special here? Anything you observed new thing?
Yeah, like this name address column. It's a kind of,
Yeah.
multiple thing with comma.
Name, address, column, okay, fine. Do you see this teal color here? Anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We observed like why this teal color is coming up. We actually tend not to look at all these options, but yeah, there is a meaning for that. You hover the mouse on this teal color.
Mm.
What does that indicate now?
No.
Here it indicates for me that restaurant ID is valid 1000, error 0, empty 0.
Yeah.
What does this mean in reality? Your Asia table have a lot of information more than 1000. However, since I told you that the column profiling is based upon the top 1000 rows, when you hover the mouse, it tells you that how many total number of rows it is considering now. So within the top 1000 rows of your data that you have loaded, it says all the 1000 rows have information. There are no empty cells or there are no error cells. All these cells that you have loaded have information. This is what it says. And that's the reason why you will see this is in the complete teal color. You don't see any other color for that. When I scroll, when I move the mouse to the right hand side, you will observe that every column has the complete teal color. This indicates that your data right now on the top 1000 rows, whatever your data has been loaded, there are no empty cells, there are no error cells. All the cells have been loaded with some information according to the data that you have presented. There is an information. Now what I want you to do is to just for an experience, the place where you see the column profiling based on top 1000 rows, select on that. You will see column profiling based on entire data set. Choose this option. Okay. And now after you choose that option, you hover the mouse here again on the teal color. Now, do you see the number is changed to 8849?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So what does the difference between this and that method? And absolutely there is no difference, but only for the Power BI or the Power Query editor to work much more lighter and faster. What it does, it will consider the top 1000 rows from all of your tables, and based upon that, it will apply for the remaining total number of rows. So which means here you are doing some modification on the top 1000 rows that will get applied to the remaining 7849 rows. Simple. Just to make you understand that you don't need to get panicked that your data is not loaded. Your absolutely data is completely loaded, but the first top 1000 rows are being done. So this is where you can observe based upon that. And maybe in the coming examples, you might see if there is any empty space, empty rows or anything, you will see a different color here. Then I'll show you why there is a different color. But for now, this is what you are going to see. Yes, this is based upon the top 1000 rows. And what the teal color does mean in your data is absolutely good to go with. It's like a green signal. Yes, we are good to go.
Yeah,
Is it
sure.
understandable? Useful?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So this is what you need to keep an observation when you load some data. Okay. These are all the tiny observations that you might miss, but take an observation, take a minute before you execute anything so that you are absolutely okay. And it will eliminate for you to make some repetitive things. Otherwise, you should be good. Now with this, what we are gonna do is, with the same spirit, take the same learning. Now I'll give you time, a minute time. Okay. Now I want you to load another new file called continent. I mean Africa. Okay. Add another file continent. Sorry, Africa continent onto this table. Now again, I'll show you how you do that. Go to the home tab and to the new query group. You'll click on the new source, choose the Excel workbook, and then you will click on Africa and click open. The moment I do this, now this time I'll just make it a bit much more quicker. So I could see that there is an Zomato Africa. I'll select this and then click on OK. So this will take me to the next. This is adding one more new query called the Zomato Africa. And as I have mentioned, source navigation, promoted header, and change type are the usual steps. I'm gonna delete the change type and I'll go to the add column now and click on the custom column. And I'm going to give a name. Again, I'm going to give the same name called the continent. The same I have given in the Asia table. And as I told you, you remember that the moment when I write the continent name, the formula is incomplete message is what it shows. So I'm going to write the formula here called Africa. Since I'm loading the Africa table, so I'm going to write the formula called Africa and click OK and mention it in the capital, first letter as capital, remaining followed by small letters. Okay. So load this file and then tell me how much time you spend on doing this.
Done.
Good. Joyce?
Yes, it's done.
Perfect. If you have a question about it, park it aside. I know what kind of question you might get at this point in time. I'll answer you that on a later stage. Now, you have got 5 minutes. Now we have got 5 minutes. All I want you guys to do is to load the remaining other files, which is we have done for Asia and Africa. Now load the same thing like Europe, Oceania, NAM, and SAM. Put it in order like Europe, Oceania, NAM, and SAM. So I've got 4 more tables, add them to the source.
And just load. I mean, we are not doing any other changes, right? Just loading.
Load the data, and then you are going to remove this change type, and then you are going to add a custom column, and then add each continent name as a column in that particular table. So this is Europe. I'm adding the Europe table. And after the Europe table has been added, now I'm going to remove the change type step, and I'm going to add a new column and then give a custom column.
Just want to understand, change type is basically, it's by default, right? It's redundant kind of steps.
It's a no, it's a redundant. Like you can't escape from that. It will automatically come in.
Okay, but if we remove that, then there is no change in our data, right?
There is no change in our data. Only the type is not being detected automatically. So this is Oceania. Continent, and then this is Sam. Okay, so if you have added all the files, okay, so then you should see 6 different queries here on the left hand side, like Asia, Africa, Europe, Oceania, NAM, and SAM. And along with that, you have added one more custom column. So right now you will see in each of the table, you'll have 11 columns, but with different total number of rows. Just give me a confirmation till here that once you have loaded all these files, give me a confirmation. That's the first thing.
Yes, it's done.
Very good. Sakit. Hope he's still doing.
Yeah, it's just Sam is load. Last one is loading.
Okay.
Just allow 1 minute. It will be fine.
No problem. All right. So let me do one thing. I believe that now Sakit also might have loaded the file. So let's take a 15 minutes break and then let's regroup. So it's around 12:03. We can just regroup by 12:18, around 15 minutes break. Just finish up your coffee, tea, whatever. Get refreshed and then let's sit and take it forward with the remaining things, more interesting things. Okay.
Sure.
Is it
Sure.
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, I'm back. Maybe you guys can drop me a message once you're back so we can start.
I'm ready, Lakshmi. You can proceed.
Thank you. Let's wait for Saket also.
Yeah, sure.
All right, thank you, Saket and Joyce. I don't think so. Lisa is around, but since she might not be able to join, okay, we'll continue from here. So let me share my screen back. All right. So what we have done so far is we have loaded all the different files. Okay. So there are around 6 continents that we have loaded. Now, as I told you that we are going to combine all this different data. Now, before we combine all the different data, okay, let's go each one of the table and then look for the statistics. And I just wanted to understand that we are on the same page. Okay. So for that reason, we can see I'll try to put it on the chat window or here on the notepad. Asia table, you should see around 11 columns and 999 plus rows of data. Okay. And I'll just give you the statistics here. Just take a look and then see if you are also saying the same thing. Then Africa table, you should be seeing again 11 columns and 59 rows of data. Same thing with Europe. You're going to see 11 columns and 80 rows of information. Oceania, you will see 11 columns and 64 rows. And then NAM, you should see 438 rows. SAM, you will see 7 columns and 60 rows. Right, just see if you are able to see the same statistics like the one I'm showing you on my notepad, or I'll also put it on the chat window and give me a confirmation.
Yes, it's correct.
Okay, so this is a checkpoint that we are doing because so that we are all on the same page. Now from here, let's understand how the statistics will keep changing between us. Maybe again, I'm expecting if you have noted or looked into each and every minute wording that I have given and said and then executed, if you have done the same thing, now we should see the same statistics. Now let's go ahead with that. What the statistics that I'm talking about. Since I have loaded all the tables, okay, with the different database, now I want to keep one single consolidated database. And this is one of the most common thing that we usually do is when we have the data from multiple different sources, why don't we combine and sing in a single place? That's a very, very simple thing. That's what we usually do. So for that, what I do, a simple thing. On the home tab, and again, coming back to the home tab, and I'm looking at the combined group. Within the combined group, I have an option called append queries. Okay, I'm talking about appending query. Since we want to add all the data from different tables into a single table, so we are going to see the option that comes to our mind, which is called the append query. So we'll go to the home tab, and then under the combined group, I have append query option. So do I click on the append query option? No, I will not click on the append query option directly. Why? First thing, there is a lot of difference between what you're selecting and what you're executing. Since right now I'm on selection of the SAM table, and when I click on the append query, what happens? It will say you are going to concatenate or you are going to pull the data from different tables to a single table. Now, the moment when I click on this, you can see against the Zomato SAM, there is a critical symbol. Okay, this is a working symbol. So never do it this way because you are changing the original data that you have loaded. When I say the changing the original data, that is only on the Power Query screen, not on your Excel file, what you have already stored. No, whatever the changes you are doing here, don't expect that it will go and do the same change on your Excel file. That's the reason why we are making a copy of the data from the Excel file to the query editor, and then we are executing it. Then how do I append the table? So I'll go to the same home tab, combine group, under which where I'll see the append query. I have a drop down for the append query. So I'll click on the append query as a new. So click on the append query as a new. This will open one new box called append. However, you can also see on the left hand side, there is no critical warning symbol for any one of the tables this time. The reason being the changes that I'm going to execute right now is not going to affect any one of the tables that I'm doing it. So I'm good at the stage. Since I have got 6 different tables here, I'm going with an option called 3 or more tables. The reason why I have got 6 different tables, I'm using the option 3 or more tables. Now, when I click on the 3 or more table, you might observe that there is a table name which is already appearing here. So it could be anything. SAM, Africa, Asia, Europe, Oceania. It depends upon the last table that you have selected. It depends upon the last table that you have selected. So if your last table, the selection of your last table is Europe, it will show Europe. So what I do, I'll just remove this on the right hand side. I'm going to remove this on the right hand side. And what I do on the left hand side, I'll select all the tables. So using control, so select the first table and then hold the shift button. Okay, select the first table, hold the shift button and select on the last table. So this will select the entire set which is there on the left hand side. And after I do this, click on add. It will come onto the right hand side. All the tables that needs to be appended in an order, like Asia, Africa, Europe, Oceania, NAM, and SAM. And then click OK. So this will create a new query called append1 on your left hand side, again on your right hand side. And you will also see that all the data has been uploaded. Now the checkpoints. As I told you that every step will have the source and navigation. You will not see the navigation step here because you already have crossed that stage of the navigation for each of the data and you are just loading the data from different tables. So this will only show you the source step. Apart from that, it will not show you another step. Okay. And after you do this, give a name here for the append one called consolidated. And that's it. This is what I have done so far. Now take a minute time, and then you can also do the same thing. Go to the home tab, click on the combine group. In this combine group, you will see the append query. Click on the drop down of the append query and then click on append query as a new, where you will see the append query table. So where you are going to select the 3 or more tables option and deselect or remove whatever you see on the left hand side, and then select all this by selecting the first table and then hold the shift key and then select the last table. You will see the selection. Click on the add. That will add the tables to append. Click on OK. You should see the data like this. Now tell me once you are done, both of you.
Yes, it's done.
Okay, Saket.
Yeah, I have chatted.
Okay,
Done.
right. No. So I'm not looking at the chat window, so just unmute and tell me. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Good. So now the checkpoint. If we are on the same page or not, tell me how many columns you see. Not the rows. Tell me how many columns you see.
11.
11.
Very nice. So which means whatever you have executed, everything is the same thing. So I'm also having the 11 column. Sometimes there might be an issue where, just as an instance, I'm telling you what might happen. So far when I have given the training and then when I did the appending table,
Shrikant,
sometimes.
sorry for this. There is no power in my place.
Okay. Oh, so
So
you're
that
also
way,
going to get dropped out.
I'm so sorry. At any time, it may off. I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, you don't need to tell me sorry. What
If
will you do?
possible, if possible, I can come back.
Right, no problem at all.
Yeah.
But I'll take your concern that can I just keep moving on?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay. Please
Right.
proceed.
Sometimes what happens when you append the table, you might see that to a surprise, you might see 12 columns or 13 columns. There might be a possibility. You might see that. Reason why? Then what you need to do is you need to go and check back in between one of the tables, in between of all these tables, the newly added column that you have done, the name of the continent might be different. Like some might have written in a small letter, some might written in capital case in one of the table. So what will happen in that case, when you click on the append table, you will see that an extra column is added because of the name is not matching. So basically what happens here, why you are saving 11 column, because the continent name is the same across all the different continent tables. And that's the reason why you are able to see this perfectly. So this is a checkpoint where whenever you do the append table, just take a look that you guys are doing in a proper way or not.
Okay.
All right. So till here, we are good. We are done whatever we wanted to add up. Now, again, I'm going to give you a few more tasks. This time, what I want you guys to do is go to the Home tab and under the new query group, click on the Excel workbook. Now, this time we are going to load the remaining other files, which is country code, currency converter, and fact table. There are only three tables which are left over. So I want you to load all these three, which is country code and the currency converter and the fact table. The option, like the way of loading, remains the same. So no change at all. So just do it and keep your database ready.
And do we need to add
Master,
any column as well, or no? Just load
No,
them.
no, no, just load them. Just
Okay.
load them.
Okay.
Anyways, after you load, you will have this option called the change type. Remove the change type step. That's all.
Sure.
The reason why we are loading back again, because we are having a lot of information from different continent tables, but at the same time, we also need to find out few more statistics which are coming from the different other files as well. So that's the exercise we are doing right now. So if you have done, just again throw me a message or let me know.
Yep. Done.
Okay. I hope Joyce also should be able to do it. So let me do this one for my system for a moment. So I hope now you have loaded the tables and then you have removed the change type step for each of the table. So you should see for these three tables, you will see the source, navigation, and promoted headers alone.
Yes, that's correct.
Cool, lovely. As I told you, remember the step, the very first thing that we were discussing when we load the table. Now you could see the country master table right now I'm in. Okay. You will see that there is a teal color. Along with it, there is also a brown color here. Do you observe this in your data?
Yes.
Right. So this gives you a classic example of what exactly it is. So I have got two columns and 209 rows of data. Now, when I hover the mouse here on the color, now do you see the statement, the country code? There are 199 which is valid, and there are 0 errors, but there are 10 empty rows.
Mm.
So this is what, sorry. So this is what exactly it tells you when you are working on the Power BI platform. The data when you load, the color indicates that there are blank rows within your table. Now, again, it's our call to see, do we have to retain them or do I have to remove them? Okay. Now, if I have to retain or how do I remove them? There are two
Just one
methods.
thing, sir. Just before
Mhm.
that, suppose 209 is basically total rows, right?
Hmm.
And here we are seeing 199. So basically, it's excluding the blank when we are
Excluding the blank.
clicking. Ah, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the bifurcation it gives you. So when I click on the, when I hover the mouse here, it tells you there are 199 valid, which is out of 100%, 95% data, you have non-empty rows. And
Yeah.
10 rows of data, there are empty rows.
Mhm. Okay, got it.
Okay. So sometimes because this might happen because if there are a lot of rows of data, like out of 1,000 rows, you can't scroll down and see if there is any empty or not. But what rather Power BI gives you the indication. Okay, the moment you see a change in the color, it means that there is something, an empty row, or there are some error rows. That is what the indication it gives. Now, how do I remove these empty rows? There are two methods. First method, either I click on this. I mean, as I told you, like I hover the mouse here, I'll see the statistics. So I have an option here called the remove empty also. Okay, I can either do it this way, like click on this remove empty. This will automatically remove the data and everything gets in a teal color. Also, besides this, you will also see the step which has been applied here called the filtered rows.
Yep.
As I told you that Power BI comes up with a lot of powerful applications inscribed within that. Now you will see this kind of step how your whatever you do here is appearing here. Okay, so this is a method called um, when you do on the VBA macros. If you're aware of the macro, heard of macro. So you have a recording option there in the macros. Whatever you do on the Excel file gets recorded. Similarly, whatever you do here, it automatically gets recorded onto the applied step. It's something like you can go back to any previous step and then check what's actually going on, how your data has been transformed. Okay. So as I told you that this is one of the option where you can able to remove the empty rows. Now, what is the alternate option? Alternate option comes into the picture where you are going to home tab, and under the home tab there is an option called reduce rows group. Okay, here on the home tab you have an option called reduce rows group. Within that you have remove rows. When I click on the drop down of the remove rows, I have multiple options here wherein I can see one of the options that says remove blank row. Okay, the step what you have done by hovering the mouse on the column header and then click on the remove empty, the same step you will see the option here as the remove blank rows. Either you execute this way or either you execute that way, your data will be the same, like the action will be the same. And now once after I do this, what else I have on the table to see? As I told you, the cleaning and transforming is very, very important here. I could see that there are duplications coming up on the table. You see, this is 94 Indonesia and 94 Indonesia. And I also see somewhere down the line, you might see a lot of information like 214 UAE, 214 UAE. correct? So these have been multiple times they have been repeated. Now, how do we eliminate the duplicates? As a step one, remember this point again very well. As a step one, whenever I am trying to perform a particular task or action in Power Query Editor, it depends upon your selection. Okay, this is a very minute thing which we ignore, but this is very, very important. It depends upon the way I select and execute the action. What does that statement mean? For instance, if you look at the table right now, can you look at, just take a look at the table and then tell me, like, according to you, which column is selected and which column is not selected?
Country code is selected.
Country code is selected since the background of it is a bit different, isn't it?
191 is gray, yeah.
Hmm. Correct. So when I want to execute in this section, if I want to execute, go to the remove rows and then again click on the remove duplicate from the home tab under the reduce rows group. If I click on the remove rows drop down and then click on the remove duplicate, what is going to happen? The Power Query Editor will automatically focus only to remove the duplicates from the country code table, not from the entire data set. Got it? So when I say what is that happen, in this case, it is easy for you to identify, yes, I can able to remove the duplicate. However, there are certain methods what we do. In Excel file, if you know that if I want to remove the duplicates, I need to select the entire data. Or if I want to remove duplicates from one particular column, I'll select only one particular column. Similarly, it also affects the same way. How do I ensure that the entire table is selected? Select any one of the cell from this table, click on Control A. The moment I click on Control A, now do you see that the background of the color is changed a bit? It's in yellow color. This indicates that I am right now currently selecting the all the columns within the table. After I do this, go to the home tab and then under the reduce rows group option for the remove rows, click on the drop down and then click on the remove duplicate. Now this will give me an indication where I have got the data removed and it is free of the duplicates. Now after I do this, I should see the columns as 2 columns and 15 rows. Now probably you can just execute and then see. Were you be able to see that? I mean,
Yeah.
were you be able to do the same thing?
Yeah. 2 column, 15 rows.
Very good.
Srikanth,
Hello, Joyce. You're back.
hello. Yes, I'm back, but I'm using my mobile, so I can't practice. I can do it later.
I really appreciate.
Just I'm watching the
No
video.
problem.
Yeah, could you
No.
please explain? Is that possible?
What was the last thing you heard from me?
Uh, three tables you were adding, no?
Right. So I have added all the 3 tables. That's the
Actually, we
first.
have a country code, isn't it? Now you have changed it as country master, right? Is that so?
No, 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 no.
No.
So what happened is country master table, after we have loaded all the tables on the country
Mm.
master, initially this is how the data is looking like.
No, in the data set you have sent, no. Do we have a country master table there?
Yes, you have.
I was checking that.
Okay,
Okay.
the
Okay.
file name should be country master.
Okay.
Actually, this is tab name, basically file name.
File name, tab name, matlab, see, your file name can be different. For example, if you
Different.
look at the
Yeah.
fact table, if you look at the fact table, the workbook name is mentioned as fact table, but within the fact table, the sheet name is mentioned as KPIs. So you'll see the sheet name here. Till now here, what you have looked at is the country master is a workbook file. Within that, you have a sheet name called the country master. So that's where you'll see the country master table.
Okay.
Right. So initially what happened is this is a while we load the data, when we have loaded the data, this is what we are seeing the information. Now what is that we are discussing here is in the previous tables when we have loaded the data, we are talking about this color, right? Teal color.
Yes, teal color. Yeah.
Now do you see along with the teal color there is one more color called brown color which is added?
Yeah. Yes.
So when I hover the mouse, what does this indicate exactly is it indicates that out of 209 columns of data, rows of data, there are 199 rows of data which have information, but there are 10 rows of data which doesn't have information.
Okay.
So whenever you see any change in the color, not the 100% teal color, so hover the mouse and then see to identify like what exactly the other color indicates. Are there any empty rows or are there any error rows? So this is a place where you can identify hovering the mouse.
Yes.
So in
Okay.
this case, I have got empty rows. So how do I remove the empty rows is what we am discussing. So one row, like how do I remove the empty rows? Like hover the mouse here and you have an option here called the remove empty. So when I click on this remove empty, this will remove all the empty rows. And this is where you'll get the step called the filtered rows. So now you see the 100% teal color.
Yes. Yes. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Shekhar.
Right. After that, what also I'm discussing is right now, and if you look at the observe the table, country code and country is being, country code alone is selected, but not the country column. Now, as I mentioned, like based on your selection and based on your action, only Power Query Editor will work. So what is it? What does that it mean in? Suppose, for example, based on the column from remove, right now, since we are selecting the column country code and hover the mouse here and then click on the remove empty, it removed the empty rows from this particular column only, but definitely not here. What does that mean? Suppose, for example, there is a number here and then there is an empty. It still shows the empty row and it will still, this particular column shows the indication that there is still an empty row within this particular column. So what is that ideal way of doing this method? Ideal way of doing this, performing the action. What you need to do is to click on, select any one of the cell within the table and then click on the Control A. This will select the entire table. Now our intention is to remove the rows from entire table. Then your selection should be both the columns and then you'll go to the Home tab. Under the Home tab, you have a reduce rows group. Within that, you have an option remove row. Click on the drop down of the remove row. You will see an option here called the remove blank rows. So I'm going to click on the remove blank row. This will eliminate the complete blanks from the entire data table, not just only based on one particular column. Now you want to remove the rows based on only one particular column, then you're either going to select this or either you're going to select this and then choose this option. Again, click on the remove rows and then click on the blank rows. So based on that particular selection only, it will remove the blanks. This is how the Power BI or the Power Query Editor works. Now, since in this particular table, now I have got to 199 rows of data. However, I could see there are lot of duplicates within that. Now I want to eliminate the duplicates. So how do we eliminate the duplicate? Again, select any one of the cell first, Control A, this will select the entire table. What is other way around? How do I select it? You can either select it from this particular corner. Select from this particular corner. Okay. But this is only for copying and everything. So I would recommend to just give a Control A and then click on the remove rows and then click on the remove duplicates. So when I click on the remove duplicates, now you could see that the data is completely reduced and I see only 15 rows of data. And also it is updating in the applied steps automatically. So this is what we have done so far till here, Joyce.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, understood now.
So from now on, let's look at the remaining things. Now, is it over till here? I mean, this is done on this particular table, but uh, we always have this method of looking at the data. So whenever we get the data from different sources, we try to first do the cleansing and then transforming. What is meant by the transforming? Now I could see that there is a country code and there is a country, and all these country codes are in jumbled way, like 94, 191, 214. Now, can I make this in a sorting? Usually it is not required here at this position, but yes, if I want to learn something, how do I do it? Either it is necessary or not necessary. Only when I execute a particular step that will go and sit in my mind, because here there is no demand to do it. But tomorrow there might be a state where there is a demand to do some certain option. Then it will give you an indication that you have already done this, and then you will see how do I do that. So that's why I'm just teaching you how do you sort the data. Now in Excel, can you tell me like what kind of sorting levels that you saw? Have you done the sorting on Excel?
Yeah, A to Z, Z to A.
Right. And can I sort for multiple columns and can I sort for single column?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just guessing. Joyce, you might have this hands-on experience or not, but still I'm just guessing. In Excel file, when you are doing the sorting multiple based on multiple columns, you know how to sort the data based on multiple columns, right?
Yes.
You'll click on the sort box and then a box will appear. Then you'll add a level, keep adding a level. This is how you sort. But can you guys tell me, if you have sorted in that way, how do you know that first which column has been sorted and the second which column has been sorted, third which column has been sorted? By looking at the data?
No.
No, in Excel, no.
So you need to click on the sort box, only then the pop-up window appear, only then you will see, okay, what
Yeah.
is the first level, second level, third level.
Right.
Now, the same experience you are going to carry here, but you are going to carry it in a different method. How? First thing, I'm going to select the first column. Now, again, when it comes to the sorting, you cannot select all the table at one shot and then do a sorting. Why? Just take a look at the screen. I'm going to select the control A. So the entire columns are selected. Now you see that there is an options here, A to Z and Z to A in the sorting. Under the home tab, sorting group, I have options A to Z and Z to A.
Yeah.
And you see that both are grayed out. They're not working. Like if you see the group by, it is grayed, it is filled in. But when I look at the A to Z and Z to A, they are grayed out.
Means not allowing to sort.
Perfect. So only in the sorting case in Power BI, you will not see that you cannot sort everything. Rather, what you can do is you can sort by column by column. So let's see how do you sort by column. Let's say, for example, I'm going to sort the country code. So I'm going to select the country code. I have either two options. Either I can click on the filter and then choose the ascending to descending. Like I can choose the ascending order. This is one way. Or either I can select this option from the home tab under the sort group. I can select the A to Z. This is one option. Okay. Either you can select on this filter and then do it, or either you can directly use this option from the home tab. Now, do you observe that the moment once you click on the sorting, earlier your filter button looked like this, but now the filter button look like there is one drop down. There is a tiny arrow, and next to that there is one arrow which is indicating to the upward direction.
Saying that ascending or descending?
This is ascending order, which is A to Z. ideally you might think why should show in a, up arrow, it should show in a down arrow, isn't it? But the behavior of this will be, this is different. In ascending order, if you select in Power Query Editor, you will see the arrow towards the upward direction. This is ascending order.
Increasing trend, you mean?
Yep. And now, can I also do this sorting on the next one? Yes. For that, now I'm going to select this country, click on this filter button, and now click on ascending order. When I click on the ascending order, now just take a look at the screen and observe and tell me, do you find any other difference here? Other than the filter having the upward direction arrow?
Yes, the number is there. 1, 2.
Good. So now you should see that there is a numbering added to this. And also on the applied step, there is an option called the, sorted rows, which is option automatically applied. But I have applied two sortings here, but it is showing a single column, single step. So what does this indicate? In the single step, when you are doing a multiple sort, looking at the data, you can identify that, okay, country code is sorted first and then country column is sorted second. So the number indicates that which in which position we have sorted in this particular table. So guys, you understood now? Sorting is simple,
Yeah.
but identifying is also simple.
So suppose if there are 3, 4 columns, so this numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, that will indicate that, you know, which one is sorted first.
Right. If I have 4 different columns and when I sort the 4th column first, then the
Yeah.
number will add to the 4th column. Second column second, then it will add the 2 for the second column. Then the first column as a third position, then this will indicate 3 and the third one as a fourth.
So numbering will decide the order of sorting basically.
Numbering will show you in which level they have sorted.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So this is good enough information on this. Then we'll move on to the next bits. So which is the USD converter? We have the data which is updated. So this is absolutely good. And KPIs also. I'm just trying to look for the information where I could see, is there any blank anywhere? Okay, so looks like there is nothing blank or anything. So far we are good. Right. So what we will do right now, do you also believe that just doing like this something will indicate, or let's say if I share this to someone, it's just like a raw data, but your data is not looking but organized. So when I say organized, let's just also give an indication to the people like what are your different inputs that you are giving, what are your different outputs that you are giving. So you can see Zomato Asia, Africa, like looking at these queries, there are 10 queries here now on your left hand side. Okay, looking at these queries, tell me what are your inputs and what is your output.
I guess like all starting with Zomato country, I mean, except consolidated, I would say the output, but rest are input.
Okay, consolidated is the output and rest is the input, because this is what we have done. So I know, Joyce know. Then if you give this file to someone else, how do they know? Is there any way that can we indicate in Power BI?
If we go to the consolidated, there won't be anything applied step or something.
So ideally you need to select each one of the table and then you need to identify that, okay, this might have been done. So you will assume by going into all the tables, correct? What if I keep this data organized? Is there any option that I can organize the data? Yes. Just watch my screen for a moment. Takes around just seconds. All I do is I'm going to select the first table, Asia, Africa, Europe, Oceania, NAM, SAM. I have selected all the 6 tables. Also, I'm selecting the country master, USD converter, KPI, because I know these are my inputs. All I'll do is right click on this, and there is an option here called move to group, create a new group, and I'll just mention this as input files. and the leftover is consolidated. So I'll right click on this. Again, I'll use the option move to group, click on the new group, and I'll say output. Now you share this file to someone else. When suddenly someone looks at the query editor or anything, they'll understand, oh, these are all my input files and this is my output file. Then it is easy for them to identify like what are my inputs and what are my outputs. And this gives you the professional look of how you are using a Power Query or Power BI. Makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
probably you can just do it, Saket, and then we can take it forward again.
Sure. You mean just reclassifying the
Yeah,
different
just
tabs? Okay.
reclassify it. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Sure.
it just takes seconds. Because this is the very first thing that what people see when they look at the tables, even not just them, even for you, even at later stage when you want to again work on these files, even you should not fumble around like, okay, what kind of different inputs that I've used and which table. So you might not work on the same file for months together, but and then again all of a sudden when you want to do it, then you might get an indication, okay, you might feel, how do I put all this?
Mhm. And I just noticed one more thing,
Mhm.
like input files 9 means basically 9 files are consisting of input.
Right,
And,
exactly.
yeah.
It tells
So
you
if there
the
are,
total number of files.
yeah, so if there are say 15, 20 files, so we can just see that, okay, how many files with numbers.
Yes, it gives you that indication.
Okay, cool.
All right. Now, let's also look at what is that we can still work on. We have got the consolidated data, and you know very well that the consolidated information is coming directly from the place where we are picking up from all the different tables. Okay. And apart from that, we also have some additional information like the country master, USD converter, KPIs. Okay. Now the task for you is to make sure in the consolidated information, I have got 11 columns of the data along with all the continent names. Now I want to add from the country master, wherever the country code it indicates the country name. Okay. Because in the consolidated data, I have the country code, but I never have a country name anywhere. Okay. So what I wanted to do is I want to bring the data from the country master. I want to bring the data from the country master to the consolidated data. Okay. So what is the identifier here between consolidated and the country master table?
Country code.
Country code. Okay. For example, I gave the same data in an Excel file, one consolidated sheet and one country master sheet. Okay. Now I'll give you a task stated, bring the country names or identify the country names using the in the consolidated file using the country master. So what is your approach methodology there?
VLOOKUP, you mean?
Right? Your favorite options in Excel?
Mhm.
Right? Every one of our favorite option, because the moment we understand VLOOKUP, we feel that we know everything in Excel. Correct?
But when you train
Back in.
tick training advanced Excel from Prabhas or someone in his team, then you will see that, okay, how much he knows.
Okay, right. So VLOOKUP, correct? Your approach methodology will always be, can I use a VLOOKUP to identify the data between this and that? That's what you basically do, right? Now, let me give you the same background about the VLOOKUP. Before we do the background on the VLOOKUP, for a moment, although this is very, very early for you, but for a moment, I wanted to show you a bit of differences. So for that, what I want you guys to do, since we have loaded all the information, there is an option here on the home tab, close group. There is an option here called the close and apply. Okay. For a moment, I want you guys to click on the close and apply. Just directly click on the close and apply. So when I click on the close and apply, you should see that the Power BI screen is automatically back appearing. And you don't do anything, just leave the same system for a moment. Then you should see within a minute, you should see a window called the load, and you will see all the queries that you have loaded. And once the queries are being loaded, you will see different messages waiting for the other queries or evaluating. And then suddenly it will turn into some KB like 1.1 KB loaded, 2.2 KB loaded, which means you are in a good shape that it is creating a connectivity models and everything. So don't press anything or don't do anything, just leave it the same thing. It will keep loading. And once after the successful loading is completed, it will drop a message to you that yes, all the data has been loaded. So now I could see on my screen, it says it is loaded, and then the pop-up window goes off. And with this, I will also share, I'm sure that I will be able to see this under the field section here. If it is open, I'll see all the tables, whatever I have worked in so far. It will also exactly come in the same way, like whatever the tables that you have loaded, it will come in the same thing here. Do it till here, Saket, and then tell me if you are seeing the same screen without any errors, without any issues.
Currently for me, it's just saying creating connection in model.
Right. So after that
It's
step,
not here.
probably it will say detecting relationships, and after that it will show you the amount of the file that it is being loading, like 1 KB,
Yeah.
2 KB.
Yeah. But generally it takes time, right? Little bit.
This is the first time, so it will take time.
Okay. Sure. So it's loading. Once
Because
done, I'll confirm.
yeah, because you are loading around 11 tables at one time, not just one by one.
Correct. And do we, okay, so we have input and output segregation we are unable to see here, right?
Yes, input and output segregation you will not be able to see here.
Okay. Currently it's loading data to model. Is it last stage?
Yep. So then it should have been loaded by this time then.
Sorry, for me it's still showing. It's showing KB from Africa XLX load.
हाँ, KB का मतलब it is loading. It's loading
Mm-hmm. So
properly.
you can continue probably if.
Because once it is completed, only then you should be able to see.
Yeah, this detecting
Otherwise, you will not be able
relationships
to.
or it's running few steps probably. So now it's showing, okay, 8849 number of rows loaded. Okay, and then there is icon coming as cancel or something. I should no, so it went
No.
off. It
Yeah,
went
it will
off.
go off. Yeah, it
Yeah.
will go.
So
Everything will go off.
yeah. So now field section is getting updated.
Right.
Your system is showing 11:43 a.m.
This is in universal time. Yeah. So now you have got the information now.
That field section is still updating, but yeah.
Okay, field section is alone updating, right?
Yeah, yeah.
No problem at all. Then you should be able to see the screen very moment.
Yeah.
So for you guys to understand, this is the Power BI screen. And so far what we have dealt is on the Power Query Editor screen. And what are the options that we are looking on the Power BI screen? Now, as I told you that usually this is what I take it after around complete database on the Power Query Editor. But now I want to make it little early because I want to show you some differences. So just giving you a heads up about that. The left hand side, you will see three different options called report, data, and the model view. These three are the primary things that we are going to work on the Power BI screen. These three are the primary. Always you'll be toggling between report, data, and then model view. Okay. And apart from the transform data, what we have used earlier, we are going to toggle around these three. So these are the views, three different views in the Power BI screen that you'll be able to see, which we are going to talk about it now. And on the right hand side, you will see this is the place where you'll see build visuals with your data. So this is a place where I call it as a, I mean, technically what we call it as canvas. Okay. So like a whiteboard where you will draw anything. So this is what we call, it is called canvas. Next to the canvas, you have a lot of options. One is the filters, visualizations, and the field section. So now you are experiencing that whatever the tables that we have loaded from the Power Query Editor from the backend through the Excel files, you will see all the transformed tables here. Okay, so these are all called the transformed tables. Okay, wherein you'll see the consolidated country master, KPIs, and everything. So now what we are going to look at is, so till this is the introductory things that you need to understand. Now what we are going to look is on the data view, sorry, on the model view. Okay, if your data is loaded on the field section, now just move all this, decrease all this a bit. And I want you to click on the model view and give me a confirmation if you're able to see the model view.
Yeah.
All right. So on the model view, if you look at this, just understand this concept very clearly, and then we'll move on to that. On the model view, you'll see whatever the tables that you have loaded, which means all the fields which are coming up here. Okay. So 6 plus 3, 4, 10. Okay. You'll see 10 different tables here. Okay. Now you might not see all the tables at one shot. Rather, what you will do is select any one of the table, select any one of the table that it is visible, anything. Okay. And do a control A. The moment you do a control A, this is how your screen should show with all those 10 different tables. Tell me if you are able to see the same thing.
Yeah, I can.
Very nice. Now, the way we have organized or the grouping the data there in the Power Query Editor, we cannot group it in that way, but we will make an arrangement. Because when you look at the model view, now we are going to learn how do you read a model view, which is very, very essential and crucial sometimes, because you might easily observe this and then say how your tables are connected. Now, for that reason, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a bit of zoom in a little bit.
Just wanted to can we I mean arrange this whatever the haphazard manner the tables are currently we are seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So can we put it kind of aligned with one, or it will come like this way? I think.
No, it will not come like this. This is what I'm trying to tell you, that we are going to align it properly.
Okay.
So just give me a moment. Even my screen window got increased. Just give me a minute. I stopped sharing the screen. Let me share my screen back. All right, so you're able to see the screen, right?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So I'm just a bit of zooming in, and then what I'll do is this, as I told you, like you need to actually um, put little bit of effort. So for that, the best way, what you can do is select one of the table. Once you do the control A, okay, everything gets fit in a single screen. Then you can right click on any one of the table and then say collapse all. So the size of the tables will be bit reduced. Okay. And then what I'll do, I'm going to bring all this like Zomato Asia. I'm going to make a single selection. So this is Zomato Asia, and then this is Zomato Africa, or even I can put it here, Zomato Africa, and then Zomato Europe, and then Zomato Oceania, and then I have got the NAM, and also I have SAM is there, but it thinks it is somewhere down. Right, SAM is somewhere down. So I'm going to put this here. And then what I also do is I'll keep the KPIs here, country names here, and also the USD converter here. And now I have got the consolidated. So I'll keep the consolidated somewhere in the middle. So this is how I have just arranged my table. wherein it says each one of the continent table is on the top. Each one of the continent table is on the top. And then in the middle, I have created the consolidated, which is output. And also there are additional inputs here, which I have just created. Okay. So basically you don't, you don't need to have this completely like this, but yes, you are going to put it just for your understanding. So once this is completed, okay, so now I have arranged the data, which I'm okay. First thing, let's understand. Do you see that there are characters in between both of the tables? There are some solid connectors going on between each of the table. And you also did see there are some dotted line connectors also going between the tables.
Yes.
Saket, you are able to follow?
Yeah.
Okay. Now for a moment, let's talk about what are these dotted lines? Why are these actually being done? So before we even talk about this, I have a pretty question to, I have a small question to everyone. Like you both, maybe let me know if you have heard about this and then you did worked on that. Have you heard about the relationships between two different tables? It could be in any application. It could be either SQL or either it is Excel or either it is an Access. Anywhere you just might have heard about
Yes.
a relationship between two different tables.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So may I know, like, what are the different kinds of relationships that you have heard about the tables? What are the different kinds of
One to
relations?
one.
Okay, one
to
to
one
one.
relationship.
Okay,
One to many.
one to many. Okay,
Many
Many
to
to one.
one and many to many.
right. Many to one and many to many. So since you have heard about this, can I also trust that you know what exactly is a one-to-one relationship and one to many?
One to one means common field between both the tables, right?
Common field between both the tables. Okay, and anything else that you can elaborate?
Or exactly the same.
Maybe can you give me an example? Fine. Let's understand this way now.
Mhm.
Let's understand this way. Now I'm going back to the data table view here. Okay, for a moment, I'm sharing my screen on this data table view. Now tell me, there is an Asia table here, correct? There is an
Yeah.
Asia table.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
in between, what can you tell me what can be a connectivity between the Asia table and a consolidated table?
Restaurant ID.
Yeah, like what kind of relationship that you say that can be established between Asia and the consolidated table?
One too many.
Right, one to many. And how about Joyce? What's your call?
One to many.
Right. So you think it is a one-to-many relationship. Good. Now let's understand why either it is a one-to-many or any other thing. In Zomato Asia, the total number of rows that you have got is here. You can find it here. What is the total number of rows you have?
8849. 8849.
Now, when I go to the consolidated table, how many tables you have? 9550. So out of 9550, 8449 rows belongs to the Asia. You agree till here?
Right.
Yes.
Now, what is the common between both the tables?
That 8940 or whatever rows.
Then what is the common column between both the tables?
Common
Restaurant
column.
ID.
Restaurant ID. So restaurant ID is unique in both the tables, correct? But where is the consolidated information? The consolidated table, in the consolidated table, the restaurant IDs are coming from where? Asia table. In Asia table, they are unique in nature, correct? So this becomes a one-to-one relationship, not one-to-many. Reason being, Asia file from the Asia file to consolidated table, the relation will be one-to-one. Reason, the total number of unique values are equivalent to the total number of unique values in the consolidated table only for Asia. So each one of the row is connected to each one of the row in the each one of the row from Asia table is connecting to each one of the row in the consolidated table. So in that case, it is called it is called one-to-one relationship. For example, in Asia table, whatever the restaurant ID it is, in the consolidated table, if it is duplicated, okay. For example, if 306531 has been duplicated, okay, then what becomes from Asia table to consolidated table, it becomes one-to-many relationship. Reason, although in Asia it is unique value, it is connecting to two different rows in consolidated table. You got the point?
Can you just come again?
Yes.
Why one? You're explaining why one-to-one, right?
Yeah. So for example, I'm going to the Zomato Asia. Okay, let's go for Zomato Africa. For example, we have got 59 rows, correct? In Africa, I'm selecting one of the restaurant ID. Okay, let's say take 1836493. So how many number of times this row is repeated in Africa?
Once.
And this restaurant ID 1813649 is a unique one. Okay.
Right.
Now I'll go to the consolidated. I'll select here 1813649. Okay. In consolidated table, right now I am in consolidated table and I put a filter for this. How many times this row is repeated in consolidated table?
Once. So it's one-to-one then.
It's a straight one-to-one case. For example, if the same row in consolidated table is repetitive, if it is again 1816643 but with a different country code, then what will happen? There are two different line items, correct?
Right.
Then what will happen? Africa table is connected to the consolidated table with this particular ID twice. Then that becomes one-to-many relationship. You got it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
You understood the difference between one-to-one and one-to-many?
Yes.
Or is it still confusing?
Let's go for another example.
Right.
Now with the other table.
Go with other table. Similarly, you have the same thing with Africa. I'm just deleting it. Let's say if I go back to another table, any tiny table, let's say Europe. So what do you think the relation between Europe and consolidated table can be?
One-to-one.
1-to-1. Why? There are 80 restaurant IDs coming in the Europe table, and all these 80 rows are connected to 80 different rows in the consolidated table. Okay. So how do I prove it?
With the restaurant ID.
With the restaurant ID, because that is a common connector between these two tables. Okay. So let's say, for example, I'm going to select 6101881. So in Europe table, it is 6101881. Now I'll go to the consolidated and filter for 6101881. Now, how many times it has been repeated as per the restaurant ID in consolidated? It is only once. Correct? So it is 1-to-1. Now you can ask me, Lakshmi, why do I have to go ahead only with the restaurant ID? Why can't something else? Let's look at that one. Let's look at that example also as well. So I'm just clearing the filter here, and I'm also clearing the filter on the Africa table. Sorry, the Europe table. And now I have a table here called the country code or the country master, isn't it? Under the country master, I have tables called country and country code, correct? Now the country code in the country master, how is it connected to the consolidated? So you think this is a 1-to-1 or 1-to-many? Assume, think about it, assume things. On the country master, I have got 15 rows of data, 15 unique values of data.
Right.
From the country master to consolidated table, how many, what kind of relationship it might build?
1-to-many.
Why?
Because there might be many for other seats like Europe, Oceanic, right? There should be the country listed there. Same.
Very good. Suppose, for example, if I filter for the country code 1 in the consolidated and click OK. Now I move to the right hand side and then see what are the different continents it is being connected to. Is it connected to a single continent or multiple continents? Single continent. And also the country code, is it only one particular line item? You have got how many rows here? 8652 lines of data. So one line from country master is connected to 8600 lines of data from the consolidated table. So then the relation becomes as 1-to-many relationship. Agree?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Now, the same concept I'm teaching you in a data model view. If I go to the data model view, what has happened? So from Zomato Asia, and there is a consolidated table. There is a 1-to-1 relationship. But ideally, it is not connecting yet anywhere. It is not yet connecting anywhere. So for a moment, what I will do is I'm going to delete all the relationships here. So how do I do it? I'll go to the manage relationships. So for you, this is for you to understand how it works. And I'm going to the manage relationships and I have got enough information here. So I'm going to select all this information and delete for a moment. I don't mind the breaking the data. So I'm okay with this. So I'm just click on the close. So the moment once I click on the close, you will see within the next minute, all the tables are gone. Correct? But the relationships are nothing. You have got the data, but the relationships alone is not working. Correct?
So what you did, just come again, just when this linking has gone.
Right. So select control, sorry, select the, instead of control A, go to the date model view and then click on the manage relationships. Under
Okay.
the home tab, you will see the manage relationships under the relation groups. After that, you will have a lot of information there. Now select the first line and then do a control A. You will see all the lines have been selected, and simply click on the delete and then click close. That will remove all the information here. It takes around a minute and it will remove all the relationships.
So shall I do that?
Yes, you can do and see.
I can select any rows and then.
You can select any row and control A.
Okay. And then delete.
And then click on close.
So it's
that
asking
will,
delete relationship.
yes.
Delete. Close.
So suddenly you will notice that
Yeah.
all the tables are emptied like this.
Yeah, linking has gone.
So don't worry about that. Just click on the expand on one of the tables. Again, in collapse, you will see all the different tables have been, you'll see the information from each of the table. Okay. So now that I have got all this information, so I'm just I'm keeping all this in arranging it. You don't need to do it. I'm just doing it. You can just leave it as it is for now. So I'm just keeping it properly so that it looks good at a single place. And now you're going to get this information clarified in another next few more minutes. Like what is that one-to-one and one-to-many, and what is that we are talking, you're going to witness the same thing. Right. So now I have got the consolidated information alone and these tables with no connectivity. Now what I'm going to do is, like as I said, I'm going to expand the Asia table and I'm also going to expand the continent consolidated table. Okay. I'm going to expand the consolidated and Asia. Now, as per you, like what you have discussed, when I select the restaurant ID from the Asia table and give a connectivity to the consolidated table using the restaurant ID, what kind of relationship that you guys have mentioned?
One-to-one.
Right. So now what I'm going to do is just watch my screen for a moment. I expanded the Asia table, expanded the consolidated table. Now that within the Asia table, I'm going to select the restaurant ID. Okay. And I'm going to hold the right key on the mouse pad and then slowly drag it and onto the restaurant ID of the consolidated. Okay. When I do this, do you see there is a line activated?
Yeah.
Do you observe that there is a line activated? And what is the start from this Asia table? It says 1. And when it is ending onto the consolidated, it is showing 1.
So one-to-one.
This is called the one-to-one relationship. Right.
Okay.
When I hover the mouse on this particular line, it is highlighted. And when it is highlighting, you can also observe that from the Asia table, the restaurant ID is highlighted and then consolidated is restaurant ID is highlighted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This job is actually being done automatically by the Power Query when you build the tables. It will assume what kind of different relationships that you might land up between the tables that you have created, that it will automatically does. But sometimes there might be an automatic relationship that can be detected, which is of no use, but it will still show. So what we do on the data model, we create for the people to understand what kind of relationship that we have maintained between two different tables. How do you do that? This is the method you have done. Probably Saket, you can also do the same thing by expand this and then expand this consolidated also, and then right click on the restaurant ID of this Asia, drag the mouse onto the restaurant ID of the consolidated, you will see that this relationship has been activated.
Mm-hmm.
Just give it a try and then see.
Sure. Between Asia and consolidated, right?
Yeah, Asia and consolidated.
Right click and then drop and drag.
Right click matlab like hold the right key on the mouse
Mm-hmm.
and then just drag it onto the restaurant ID of the consolidated and drop it.
Okay.
Does it work?
Mm, yeah, it's showing working on it. It took a little.
Working on it का मतलब होता है.
हाँ, लेकिन थोड़ा टाइम लिया इसने, पहले ब्लैंक ही आ रहा था. Okay, but now this 1-to-1 is showing. So in your case, it's perfectly showing restaurant to restaurant. I think I need to align it, right? The arrow.
Yeah, you don't need to align the arrow. No, on the first note, were you be able to see that it is showing the relationship?
Yeah, it's showing relationship 1-to-1, but
Right?
one is coming under locality and the other one is coming under latitude. So that's what I'm thinking.
No problem at all. So just click on the collapse button there on each of the table. Click on the collapse button.
Okay, then it's, yeah.
Now
Then
does it
it's
show?
coming, yeah,
Does it
restaurant to
show you
restaurant.
properly?
Yeah.
Very nice. That is what we are looking at. So it all depends upon how you are arranging this data table. So I'm just, I mean, the models. So I'm selecting, I mean, I'm just adjusting this here and there. You can also do like whatever the kind of adjustment that you wanted to do later. That's not a big deal.
Sure.
All right. So now you have got the consolidated one. Similarly, now if I tell you the same thing, okay, between the country master and the consolidated, okay. So I'm expanding the country master and again expanding the consolidated again one more time. And I'm going to drop the country and country code. I have both the things. Okay. So let me just see. I think the country code should be the one which I need to use from the country master. Yeah, country code. So what I do is I'll go back to the country code, target this country code, and then drop the country code onto the consolidated one. Now, according to you, what is the relationship between the country code and consolidated one?
One to many.
Right.
To
So
many.
now I dropped it. Let's see what kind of relationship it is showing. Now this is starting from 1 and then starting with and ending with star. Star का मतलब होता है कि this is many.
Okay.
Got it? Star means it is many. So now you understood like how 1-to-1 and 1-to-many relationship is.
Yes.
And remember, whenever you are connecting between two different tables, even if it is useful or not useful, think about it for a minute and then take a deep breath. Think about it, like what kind of relationship it might execute, and then see it should work the same way, because that is where you will get a knowledge on what is 1-to-1, what is 1-to-many.
Sure, sir.
Now you click on this manage relationships. Now When you click on the manage relationship table, the first thing what it shows from table to table. So from table is your consolidated, which is country code, to the table country master, what kind of relationship it is active. From the Zomato Asia to consolidated, what kind of relationship is active. So now you understand, like, these are the dotted lines, which means they are active. That's the reason why they are completely shown up. And the managed relationships will tell you what kind of relationship has been automatically being created between two different tables is one. You will see it here.
Can you just repeat, sir, what you mentioned about this table?
So on the manage relationships, now on the data model, you saw that there are only two connections been created.
Right.
So now those two relationships are actually shown up here. So this is your from table and this is your to table. So from the table to table, how the relation is being created is what is showing in the screen.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is where what you have created, the same relationship is shown. Now what you have done is you are using the tables within that you are dragging and dropping. Now I will also show you one more way. On the manage relationships, there is an option called new. So click on the new. And I'm going to select the table from the top, which is Zomato Africa. And I'm going to select the data called the consolidated from below. This is from table to table. Okay. And in between these two, I want to make sure that the restaurant IDs are being selected. So I'm going to select the restaurant ID here and the restaurant ID here. And you will see the cardinality, which is automatically identified as 1-to-1. And then click OK.
And so this option, we also have this in Power Query editor somewhere, like append query is new or many.
Yes.
Okay.
Which we are going to see. But right now you can see that this is the way where you can see now the Africa table will also add a line up here to the consolidated scene.
Yeah.
See, this is 1-to-1 again.
Yeah.
So all the different continents that you have here are all 1-to-1 relationships as per our knowledge in a which is sitting in our mind. Now, when you execute it, it should also be the same way. Make sense?
Yes.
Do a Control S, please.
Yeah, saved.
Done. We haven't even done any relation between the KPI and the USD converter for a moment. We only did from the country master, so nothing to worry. So for now, let's keep this aside. So you have done the Control S?
Yeah.
Good. Now let's do this. What we will do right now, I'll stop the session here.
Yep.
I'll utilize this 10 minutes time to just brush up like whatever we have learned so far. Then you can understood like what is that on the day one that you have learned. Okay.
Sure.
So I believe right now, based on the session today, you might have understood the difference between what is a Power BI Windows desktop application, what is a Power BI online service. And also what we have discussed is about what are the different elements that we are going to work on the Power BI desktop application in terms of the reports that you create within the Power BI desktop is called the report. And after you create the report, you are going to publish it onto the online and make sure that you can create a particular dashboard taking the visuals from different reports, which you are going to still experience this over the later sessions. And what you have learned today, how do you connect the data source from your local drive, which is a static Excel file, onto the Power Query editor. So how do you get onto the Power Query editor? Is open the Power BI and then go to the Home tab, and under the Home tab, you will see the queries group, and click on the queries group. So you will see the transform data. So when I click on the transform data, you will see a Power Query editor screen is automatically open. And on the Power Query editor, you also did see how you load the Excel file from the new query group using the new source, you have created different Excel files, like different continent files that you have loaded. That's the first thing we have done. And when we are loading each of the continent file, I also did explain about the behavior of how the Power Query editor will do. Like one is the source, navigation, promoted headers, and then the change type. So we have removed the change type and added each of the column using add column option. And we have added the column name for each of the table that we have loaded. And also we experienced what does this teal color mean on the top. So which means this is completely error free and empty free. So every information have a data. And also I have explained it, since the data has been loading, it will load as per the first 1,000 rows of the data. And whenever you want to change that column profiling or anything, so you'll have this option here where you can see the column profiling based on that and change whenever you want to have any changes, you can do the changes from that. And the properties I have spoken, that left hand side, this is called the query, and on the right hand side, this is called the property. And I also have spoken, like whenever you don't see the query settings, you are going to the view tab, and under the layout group, you will see the option called the query setting. The moment once you select this, the options will be appearing here. After which we did see how you can append all these different tables into a single table, which is consolidated using the option called append queries as new, not append query, but append queries as a new, so that your original data, what you have uploaded, has not been disturbed. And along with that, we also did see how you can change a column type. Let's say this is right now in the any format. So whenever you want to do any changes, as I told you that you'll click on this particular bit and you can change the data type at any given point in time if you want to do any changes. Besides, we have loaded few more, 3 more files, which is country master, USD converter, and the KPI. So on the country master, what we have done is initially when we have loaded the data, we identified that there are some blank rows. So I have told you to select the entire data set and like using the control A and then select the entire data set and then go to the remove rows option and then click on the remove blank rows to remove the blank rows and remove duplicates based on the duplicates, whatever the function that you want to give. And similarly, we also did see the USD converter and the KPI. Top on all this, what we did witnessed is on the consolidated table, we wanted to see how you can add the country master data using the, we wanted to see how you can replace the country code or add the country names to that. But prior to that, what we did, we clicked on the close and apply option and then went back to our report. And on the report, and we have got 3 different options, like one is report view, one is data view, and one is model view. So we are right now currently talking about the model view, where we are seeing the relationships wherein all the different tables have been loaded and we have deleted all the relationships which Power Query gave automatically, and we are creating each one of the data table, like we are creating each relationship for each of the data tables separately. So we have spoken about what is a one-to-one relationship, what is a one-to-many relationship, and furthermore, you are going to see what is a many-to-many, many-to-one, in which scenario it works in. And make use of the manage relationships to make sure you want to create a relationship between 2 different tables, either by creating this, by click on this new, and then select the table that you want to give. Let's say in this case, like Europe, and then the consolidated. And you are selecting the relation restaurant ID, which is automatically been selected. And once you click on that and click on close, it will create the relationship between the Europe and the consolidated.
Sure. Sir, just a couple of questions.
Mhm.
So one is like, suppose on desktop version, right? I created something and I want to share same with one of my colleague, and he has also kind of this desktop version. So
Okay.
if I send this um, basically template, the extension with PBIX, right? So he can see the same what I did.
Yes, he can see the same, but
Okay,
he cannot get into the transform data and then do a refresh or do any changes to the database.
it will be read only for him.
Yes.
Okay, okay, but that's fair. I think I don't want that he should change the data.
Yep.
But yeah, I cannot upload on common platform like SharePoint and shared drive. That's what you mentioned, that for that I need a kind
No,
of
you can also upload the same thing on your SharePoint side. It's something like
okay,
you are sharing the PBIX.
okay,
But if you want to share this to a group of members by giving some securities and everything, that is when
uh,
your Power BI online service require.
okay, got it. And then suppose today we have seen like connection with Excel and all. So we will
Yes.
see the on later like connection with some other platform like any
See,
SharePoint.
yeah, most likely once we are good with this objective of the course and we are able to finish up at the end, once I
Yeah,
have got a time, I'll
yeah,
try to show you for a different source, but definitely yes, I can only give you an example on how you connect your data to a web services.
okay,
Since we don't deal with, I mean, since I don't have any OLEDB surveys or something, but I'll try to show you a kind of a database as much as I can. And I'll also give you certain links where it can also direct you or help you. How do you connect to different data source?
yeah, sure,
Make sense?
yeah, makes sense.
Right. Joyce, you have any questions?
No, Srikanth, let me practice all such things and come back next week
All
at
right.
least.
All right. So save the file and then keep it. So this is the day one that what you have learned. And now let me just ask you like, how is the pace? How are you okay with the training session? Is it contentful? Are you happy with what you are getting now? Or anything that needs to be improvised?
For me, it's fine. I think I learned quite a new thing. I was aware that how Power Query works and all, but yeah, few tricks are definitely helpful. So probably looking forward the same in upcoming classes, I would say.
Okay, so you're good with the pace and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Joyce?
Yes, it's good and I'm comfortable. Yeah, fine.
All right. So as of now, I could say that there are nothing that I need to just improve a bit on that in terms of notes or materials or anything. So I'll maintain the same pace. We'll have the same thing. Don't relax, but try to make sure you take an opportunity and then try practicing it for the next session so that that gives more connectivity. Okay.
Sure, sir.
Okay.
Prabhas, you want to add something? Are you there? Okay, probably he might be in some other session too as well. All right then, folks, just have the, I mean, keep practicing it. Okay, you will get the recording very soon, and just